Only 3 weeks left in this third term of 2023, this season of racing. Number 14 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And what a three it promises to be, particularly in Waste Options GT3. Of course, when we get stuck into that a little bit later on, we're off to Phillip Island for sprint racing. Next week, Mount Panorama for 60 minutes. And then Road America for 90, the one after that. But week 8 commences with Orbic Australia GT4 as the entree to all the action that's coming up from the gateway to hypothermia a little bit later on. And it's our second visit to the MotorLand Aragón circuit in recent times, but this time for GT4 and this time also notably on the MotoGP configuration of the circuit. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Cabot. Adam Lavis is here as well. Welcome to Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. And there's the lay of the land, MotorLand Aragón. The server time is going to update there just nicely for you in a moment. We're going very late into the evening, as you can see there with the qualifying session that's just wrapped up. But we'll update you more on those broadcast conditions, on those race conditions and weather conditions in just a few moments' time. But it's a great little racetrack, this one, 5 kilometres in length. It's there in Alcahiz in Spain, and 36 degrees the track temperature. Well, that's actually just updated on the right-hand side of your screen. 21 the ambient, 24 the track temperature now. And 7 o'clock in the evening as the race server kicks into gear. And have a look at that. Still broad bloody daylight. No sunset in sight. Absolutely fantastic. 92 points. Actually, we need to scroll a little bit further up there, please, Adam Lavis. Up to the top of the page if we can. There we go. That's better. 292 points. I knew there was something not right. Sam Muir on top of the table at the moment. 292 players. Sam Chapman, 274. And Jared Knight, 243. 228 for Greg Favell. Then smorgasbord of Porsches. Jordan Malcolm, 198. 196 for Oliver Patterson and Nick Fodiatis. 194 for Mike Having 190 for Gary Cousins. Nick Wood rounds out the top 10 on 148 points. So there's 144 points covering 1st through 10th at the moment, and 102 between 1st and 9th. The grid tonight, somewhat depleted, but still quality over quantity is what we're preaching here. Jared Knight and Sam Chapman, the front row. Jared Knight pipped Sam Chapman for pole position in the closing stages of this session. Reese Gosner and Nick Wood on the second row. Have a look at the margin the top two have over the next two. Daniel Christensen, same can be said for row 3. Daniel Christensen and Dale Sharp there. Then Jordan Malcolm, Paul Wood, Gary Cousins and Oliver Patterson. Good qualifying performance from Nick Wood. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. That's promising. Then back we go to Michael Hammond, Matthew Scholes, Nick Fodiatis, Joe Baldwin, Darren Mason and Brett Bradbury, with Adam Johnson and Phil King making up the field of 18 tonight. Still more Porsches than anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. There are 6 Mercs, 2 Astons and 2 Bimmers. Actually 3 Astons and 2 Bimmers, my apologies. So we're ready to rock and roll here. Joe Baldwin, Jared Knight, Paul Wood flying the flag for Aston, Nick Wood, Dale Sharp for BMW. And they are the depleted minority of the 18. There's no doubt about that. But let's see if they can pack a punch as we get ready to rock and roll. There's the aerial shot. Looking over the field as they come down the back straight here towards the last corner. Now, this is the point of difference to when we visited here with GT3. GT3 extended on down to a hairpin final sequence of corners, hairpin, then a right-left. Rejoined there at that particular point of the racetrack. GT4 are going to go straight through that sweeping left-hander, which will ensure that they bring a little bit more full throttle pace, a little bit more speed to the top end of the main straight. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Let's get to work. Monday Night Motorsport, Orbic Australia GT4, and round 8 of the campaign is underway. Beautiful start from Jared Knight, converting pole position into the early lead. Sam Chapman and Reese Gosner second and third. Nick Wood has slotted into 4th, and Dale Sharp has displaced David Christensen to jump up into the top 5. Christensen back to 6th. Malcolm, Woods, Scholes, Patterson, Cousins and Hammond make up the top 12. Then Fodiatis, Baldwin, then Mason, Bradbury, Johnson and King. And already some moves being made early here. Great start, Matty Scholes up 3 spots from 12th to 9th. There he is in behind Paul Wood now, who's all over the back of Jordan Malcolm like a cheap suit. We're looking at a 25-minute race around this circuit, this 5-kilometre circuit. We're looking at 13, maybe 14 laps here, depending upon lap times. And there will be a splash and dash requirement as well. So, out to the right. Jared Knight has thrown it away. The pole sitter is in the wars on the opening lap. That is an enormous moment. Not just in the context of this race, but also the championship as well. Jared Knight is at the back of the field. He was third in the championship coming into this round. He is lucky in the sense that Greg Favel's not on the grid tonight. Favel was his nearest challenger in 4th place. And Sam Muir's not on the grid either. So that's actually a leg up for Sam Chapman, who's only 18 points behind in the race. Muir does have a good haul of drop round points there that he can use, that he can fall back on. So it'll be interesting to see how that balances out the ledger at the end of this round. 1 lap gone. They were in the 1 minute 56s in qualifying, so if they're following that sort of pace, you're only going to shave about 4 seconds off a lap, which should, caught the curb and it just flicked him hard right.
Looks like you
just straight to the wall.
He just started to lose the rear and he's overcorrected it.
Happens to the best of them. That's unfortunate for Jared Knight. So yeah, 1 minute 56, 1 minute 57 was that early pace. We're right on board with him. Here's the replay again. Yeah. See you later. Oh boy. That bites hard, doesn't it? Lap 1, leading the race, and it's all undone. So if they correct that 156, 157 pace, you're only losing 3 or gaining 3 or 4 seconds out of every 2 minutes. So let's say 12 laps. Let's split it down the middle and say that you're gaining 3.5 seconds. That's 42 seconds. So that's 23:18 on the clock when they come back to the line to start lap 13. And then add a splash and dash equivalent into that as well. 13 will be the number tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to sit on that number as far as the calculations are concerned here. So expect pit stops anywhere between laps 5 and 9, I'd have it a guess. Because once they're in that window to top up and get home, we'll see some strategic play and some gamesmanship, no doubt. There they go, through the sweeping left-hander. Carry a lot more speed through there if they come round onto the main straight than what you would.
And it has to be mentioned, Nick Wood, 3rd place in the Beamer. Look out!
And not just because of the misfortune for Jared Knight.
And Dale's 4th, the Beamer. The Beamer's having a great night. The Beamers love Aragón.
Indeed they do. Not just because of the misfortune for Jared Knight, it's important to note. Those guys are there on merit. And they're sticking with Gosner and Chapman as well. They're keeping them honest. But yes, they were direct beneficiaries of Knight's demise. And of course, Sharpie, he got past David Christensen on the opening lap, on the opening corner. So he has already gained one on merit and inherited another by what happened to Knight. And look at Nick Wood now. Look at Nick Wood. Fastest lap of the race as well, 158.074, but also closing in on Chapman and Gosner. Chapman, Gosner, Wood, Sharp, Christensen, Malcolm, Wood, Scholes, and then Patterson, and Hammond makes up the top 10. Ooh, Chapman getting a little bit of a nudge there from Gosner. There are some good overtaking opportunities on this circuit, Adam Lavis, and I know just by having a chat to you in the pre-show before we got on air here that you'd quite like this layout and this circuit.
Oh, it's a great circuit to race on. It's very fast, very flowing, and it's a real rewarding track to drive, especially on this layout. When you get this corner right, when you get the entry right, and you get to cut this curve perfectly, it feels amazing. Screw is just hell of fun. It's very difficult, and you really got to. It's because you've got to really pull it up to get the best exit. You can't push too fast there. You just run wide out into the MotoGP along that penalty area.
Indeed.
Which is obviously is there for a reason to slow you down.
Yes, indeed it is. I was going to say that's the other thing I don't mind about this circuit either, Adam. It's like, as opposed to some of the other ones we visit, it's nice and wide.
It's very wide, and it's all about putting your opponent under pressure, because it's a bit tricky to get just a straight move done. You got to really force get a run and force your opponent into a little bit of a mistake to give yourself a good chance to executing moves. So it's a bit of a chess game track racecraft wise, but as far as driving wise, it is very fun.
Just been politely reminded I was giving Netflix a spray on Facebook today because of the whole system they've got in place now, whereby you can't share an account if you're 800 kilometres away from the rest of the account, the rest of the family. I got stung by that last week. I'm not sure if it's going to rectify itself or not anytime soon, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. But the funny thing about it is that I was politely reminded that, yes, I might be in the same country, but by this time in 5 weeks, I'll be 112 years behind the rest of progressive civilization. So that might be where the issue lies. So good evening to Kevin Bahaja. And well done to Louis, his son, actually, on a nice performance in Series X3 New South Wales at Sydney Motorsport Park the other day as well. Down the back straight we go again. Sam Chapman, Reece Gosner, Nick Wood. They've gapped Dale Sharp, who's got David Christensen, Jordan Malcolm, Paul Wood, Matty Scholes, all trying to go with him. The Astons. The Aston of Paul Wood is sitting 7th at the moment. He's the best placed of them. Joe Baldwin, 13th. Jared Knight on the comeback trail in 15th. No one stopped yet. That's actually really impressive from Jared Knight. He lost so much time, so much ground to everybody else, but he's already displaced Mason, Johnson and King since rejoining the race. Onto the main straight we come. Another lap gone. Porsche leads. Mercedes second. BMW third, fourth. Mercedes fifth. Porsche sixth. So there you go. We go Porsche, Merc, BMW, BMW, Merc, Porsche. I love the symmetry of that. It's like watching a swimming pool. The inside lanes are the BMWs, the outside lanes, the Porsches, and the Mercs are in the middle. Very nicely done. And in we go to the left-hander. Watch Christensen trying to go with Sharp, trying to get that place back that he lost earlier. Theoretically speaking, I mean, he's already back in 5th place after what happened to Jared Knight. But in terms of on track, he's one down on Sharp, who got the better of him at the start, got the jump. And Dale Sharp is 4th. Christensen, Malcolm, Wood, Scholes, Patterson, and Hammond the top 10. Let's go. Hammond down the inside. Contact. Uh-oh. Have a look at this. The elbows are out. They're nudging. They're bumping. They're grinding through the corner. Hammond displaced. Trying to get by Patterson. Can't get it done. Back to 10th. Whoa. And wide as well. Hammond's having a real good crack at it.
I think Mikey want to look at the replay. He's asking where's the race from. He's the one that ran wide into it.
He won't be liking life at the moment, our mate Michael Hammond. He will not be liking that at all. But what an impressive performer young Oliver Patterson's been since joining the club.
Well, that's not going to be a good run for Mikey. That's a bit wide.
No. And now we have a look back down the front. Chapman's still under pressure from Gosner. Gosner happy to sit there and just bide his time and wait for his moment. Chapman doing all the heavy lifting. In the field with him at the moment. Dragging them along for fun. 5 laps gone. Nearly 10 minutes gone at Aragón. Sam Chapman, a very sociable bloke. It's very fitting and appropriate that he's a social series champion. And have a look at Gosner giving him the big hurry up. Jordan Malcolm pits. I said between 5 and 9. And the end of lap 5. Good Jordan Malcolm. Come in and top up to go to the flag. We're looking at 13 laps here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Provided we go green all the way, there's no reason, based on what I'm seeing on the racetrack here, as to why race control would need to throw a safety car at any point. And actually, can I just point out, I think I mentioned it Thursday night as well. What about this wanky BS from Motorsport Australia the other day? and particularly supercars more to the point. Talking about being an Australian first to have no racing room with Michael Hammond, no further action there. Oliver Patterson, Michael Hammond from Race Control, very nicely done. But Motorsport Australia saying, we're going to have a full course yellow system in place for the Bathurst 12 Hour next year. And that's an Australian first. Well, actually, no, it's not, because there was another motorsport sanctioning body, particularly up here in Queensland, called Races, that's implemented a very similar system, albeit with a different name, referred to as a clampdown, where everybody slowed down to 80 kilometres an hour instead of having a safety car deployment. In fact, it was the only way Queensland Raceway ever dealt with their safety cars. They never had a safety car. That was their caution system.
Yeah,
so it's not an Australian first at all.
It was their version of VSC.
Oh, that's right, and which is exactly what a full course yellow is for endurance racing. It's their version of a VSC. Agreed. So, yes, okay. The only difference is that they do have both a VSC equivalent and a safety car. We didn't, but still, the system has been used on Australian shore before. So I just wanted to get in and get another jab in at supercars while I could. 13 minutes to go. Sam Chapman, Rhys Gosnell, Nick Wood, Dale Sharp and David Christensen. I quite like the system. I think it'll work for endurance racing. I wasn't always a fan of it with regards to sprint racing, because some of the best action in sprint racing, as we've seen here on these platforms before, comes off a restart when the field's nice and tightly bunched up. And speaking of nice and tightly bunched up at the moment, have a look at the top three. Nick Wood hanging there, really impressively at the moment. Rhys Gosnell second, all over the back of Chapman like a cheap suit. Chapman the fastest lap of the race under serious pressure, 157.669. That's impressive. And then Dale Sharp is fending off David Christensen, Paul Wood, Matty Scholes, Oliver Patterson's got Michael Hammond and Nick Fodiatis for company. And we've seen Jordan Malcolm, Gary Cousins, and also Jared Knight complete their stops. 90 at the end of lap 4, interestingly enough. This car 101 punches out the fastest lap of the race, as you can see there.
Woodsy doing some good Woodsy things. In practice, he was complaining he couldn't get his head around the Aston around here, and all of a sudden he's right almost in the top 5. So
Woodsy he's going all right.
Woodsy doing Woodsy things.
Absolutely. Bit like Hobbo doing Hobbo things and Denchi doing Denchi things. Yep, exactly. For those of you that are regular viewers of ours, you might not know this, but the GSRC held its annual AGM yesterday, so we'll have more on that later on in the broadcast as well, because there's been a couple of changes made and a couple of good announcements come out of that AGM. I couldn't attend because I was off watching or working on rugby league semi-finals for West Bromwich Radio, but yes, a very interesting day out yesterday for our club members. We've got Sundays seem to be an interesting day in club headquarters. Of course, we have AGMs on a Sunday afternoon. Here comes Paul Wood to pit lane. But we've also got endurance racing taking centre stage on the odd Sunday. More on that a little bit later on as well. Here comes Michael Hammond to pit lane. So Wood and Hammond both in, and Rhys Gosnell still second at the moment. Still sitting second. Doing a nice job of it. This is what happened to Adam Johnson. He's still out there on the racetrack, still giving it a good crack, but he caught a little bit of the kitty litter and it's flicked him hard left. Onto the grass, out of harm's way. Michael Hammond completes his pit stop in 11.57 seconds. Adam Johnson just getting a little bit flamboyant with his rejoin there.
That was one of my favourite comments you made on Thursday about old mate doing an expression session during the race. I've had a good chuckle at that. Yes,
there's been a few of them, hasn't there? There's David Christensen at the moment. Get confused, actually. The only difference, the only way to pick them apart, Christensen and Fodiatis, is of course, Christensen's running the Merc and Fodiatis the Porsche, but they've got, there's that many colours at their disposal that I didn't think we'd see too many double-ups with the red livery that Nick runs, but David's gone that way. I know that we normally see... who is it? Paul Wood and Gary Cousins run the blue, of course.
Farrelly likes the red when he's, but there is still a slight difference. Christensen's gone for the metallic red option, the candy apple that Woodsy was very happy when he figured out how to get that spec. Whereas Nick likes the flat colour, so he's just got flat red.
Oh, well, mate, my eyes aren't good enough to pick that apart. Fair dinkum. 9 minutes to go next time by the line. Chapman at the end of lap 8 leads Gosner and Wood. And they all continue on for a 9th lap. Here comes Dale Sharp to pit lane. So too, Matty Scholes. Christensen's released out into the wild on his lonesome. 9 minutes left on the clock. 5 laps to go. Hope you're enjoying Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube from MotorLand Aragón. And Schooner Scholes has found some pace today. Absolutely he has. 157.4 for car 7, the fastest lap of the race. That's Reece Gosner. And of course, important to note that after Orbic Australia GT4 is done, we bring you waste options GT3. We're going to bring you the AM split first race and the Pro split second race from the final sprint round of the term. Night 1 of week 8 of term 3 for 2023.
Woody's got the best. He's got the best of day on the pit stops.
Very nicely done, and hard to tell where he's managed to do that too, because the transit time, the stop and hold time was 8.9 for Woodsy and 8.6 for Sharpie. So either Woodsy's had a great in-lap or Sharpie's had a shocker of an out-lap there, because, Dale Sharp's actually been lost a fair bit of ground in all of that, because he's also behind Jordan Malcolm. So Malcolm's the big winner out of that, because he's got the better of Wood and Sharp.
That was a nice predicted move there. Matty Scholes set it up real nice. He saw that early, took the real nice late tight entry, got the run. Very well executed move there.
Matty Scholes, 12th place, doing a nice job. And effectively, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars to come to pit lane to cleanse the field. So only 7 of the 18 have stopped thus far. Whoa! Here we go. Michael Hammond, that's 15th we're looking at there. Jared Knight, Gary Cousins and Michael Hammond, and Knight's trying to go around the outside. That ain't going to work.
Gary's like, I don't need this. We'll see you guys.
Oh, well, this is the point. Let's be perfectly honest. I can't read the name on the comment, but I can read the comment. Yes, it is iRacing. It is the iRacing platform. It has been for all 14 seasons on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It's Nathan Morgan. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board. So yes, it is the iRacing platform. This is their newest circuit, MotorLand Aragón, and we need to go to pit lane, please, Adam, because there's a flurry of activity there. Sam Chapman, Reece Gosner, David Christensen, Oliver Patterson, Joe Baldwin, Brett Bradbury have all stopped that time around. Reece Gosner finds himself back out in 4th place behind Sam Chapman, but he's lost a couple of seconds there. Gosner was stationary for 11.8, whereas Chapman was only stopped for 8.9. Nick Wood and Nick Fodiatis continue on to lap 10. They've managed to make a liar out of me. I thought the pit stops would be between laps 5 and 9. They've managed to get an extra lap out of the tank. And Brett Bradbury, Darren Mason and Phil King have come in to cleanse the field at the rear end of the equation there. And Adam Johnson will most likely follow them as well. Nick Wood and Nick Fodiatis, the two Nicks. Knick-knack, paddywhack. They're the only two yet to stop. Jared Knight all over the back of Michael Hammond here. This is for the final spot in the top 10. Can't get it done. We'll watch the drag down the back straight. And these two have got history as well, I'm pretty sure. So I know that Knight will want to get by Hammond and do it as cleanly as possible. But Mikey's very capable of making that Porsche as wide as it needs to be to make it as difficult as possible.
Even with it being the smallest car on the grid.
Yes, exactly. No one defends as though their life depends on it, quite like Michael Hammond. I've seen that on quite occasions. Hello, Grant Gill. Nice to have you on. Ain't that the truth? There's always a story to tell with Michael Hammond's name attached to it not too far down the line. Brilliant. Right. Round they come. Main straight. Nick Wood, Nick Fodiatis on to pit road. It's been a very, Grant's given him a new nickname. He's called him Mickey. Where's Tony Basil when you need? No. Hey, Mickey. Or are we talking the Walt Disney equivalent? I'm not sure. Nick Wood, Sam Chapman, Nick Wood! Nick Wood, stationary for 6.95 seconds, and he gets the overcut on Sam Chapman and Reece Gosner to the tune of 2 seconds. Nick Wood leads at Aragón.
I wonder if he's been doing some practice and worked at his fuel numbers beforehand, so he knew how much to put in. This will be very interesting if he can hold on here. He's the first Beamer win in how long? Would have been since Jordan did the Beamer season, wouldn't it?
Yeah, correct. Mikey is, yes, that's what we're going with. Grant, very nicely done. No need for the question mark on that one. We've got you covered. So let's have a look at that. The discrepancy in pit stops and pit times. I mean, down the back end of the field, not really a surprise to see Brett Bradbury 11 seconds, Darren Mason, Phil King 10 seconds, Adam Johnson 13, 10 for Joe Baldwin, 15 for Oliver Patterson. What the hell's happened there? 9 for Gary Cousins, 8 for Jared Knight, 11 for Michael Hammond is also a surprise. He's now down in 10th place chasing Nick Fodiatis again. And Jared Knight for good company as well. So we'll get to those two in just a moment. 9 for David Christensen, 8 for Dale Sharp, 8 for Paul Wood. 7 for Jordan Malcolm, 11 for Reece Gosner, 8 for Sam Chapman, and 6.95 for Nick Wood, the pick of the bunch.
So chances are the guys that have taken 10 or 11, they would be just going off what their calculators have said. And it must be like one of those things where the lap must be sort of, before the stops, it would have been like teetering whether it would be another lap or not. Because the problem with the calculators is the calculators don't take into effect that they're going to stop. So the calculators are basing on their current pace before the stops. So sometimes you've got to know in advance and actually take the lap off yourself to maximise your fuel savings.
Okay, that's interesting. I've just had a notification come through whilst we're on air here, Adam Lavis, making an announcement of some news that I've shared with you off air that I'll be able to share with everybody on air now that the news is public. So we'll get to that post-race as well. 22 and a half minutes gone. Lap 12 at 13. Nick Wood, Sam Chapman, Reece Gosner, Jordan Malcolm, Paul Wood, Dale Sharp, David Christensen, Matty Scholes, and Nick Fodiatis with Michael Hammond in 10th place. Jared Knight is 11th. But that battle, that three-way battle for 9th is well and truly alive. It's the one you've got on screen there at the moment. And look at it. Poor old Jared Knight's the odd one out there. You've got B1, B2, and B3 as far as the teammates are concerned. And Mikey's just displaced Nick on that note. Nick now goes into defence mode to keep Jared Knight at bay, but he leaves the door wide open. Knight wants a piece of that down the inside. Have a look at Jared Knight. He wants to go after Michael Hammond. He needs to get by Nick Fodiatis in a bid to attempt to do that, and does so. Fodiatis gets squeezed down the inside. Makes Knight work the hard way, hangs tough around the outside and gets it done. Good recovery mission from Jared Knight, this one. Good recovery mission indeed. Up into 10th place, Michael's 9th. Matty Scholes is in no danger at all in 8th. David Christensen 7th. Dale Sharp is 6th all over the back of Paul Wood like a cheap suit.
Should be white flag this time by a team.
It should be indeed. Wood, Chapman, Gosner, and Malcolm, the top 4. Paul Wood is 5th.
So Nick Wood's got a 2.5 second lead. It is shrinking fast. Can he hold on? Is Sam got the bit between the teeth to try and reel that big of a gap in? Or will Nick be able to not make a mistake and hold on for a beam win? It's going to be a very good last lap.
Indeed, indeed. Round they come, main straight, white flag in the air. Barney should be doing his job not once but twice at Aragón. That was a little quirk that we saw earlier in the term. Wood, Chapman, Gosner. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about Malcolm. Wood's under pressure from Sharp. That's the first active battle on the racetrack. The battle with Michael Hammond is 4 deep because Gary Cousins has latched back onto the back of it. So everywhere you look, the Bailey Ladders entries are in the thick of the action here. Wood's only a second and a half away from Jordan Malcolm. But I don't think he's got enough time left on the clock. In fact, he certainly doesn't have enough time left on the clock to get there. Phil King's got off the road. Credit where credit's due. Well done to all these guys because they've managed to stay on the black stuff. They have managed to stay on the black stuff. We haven't had a retirement yet. We haven't had a crash yet. We've had one slide, one spin for Jared Knight. That was the defining moment as far as his race was concerned. But everything else has been relatively clean. It's a fairly easy night at the office for race control. I say that now. I hesitate to say it confidently because we've still got Phillip Island to get through in GT3. But what about this guy? Strategy is king. And for all the praise that we've hurled Dale Sharp's way for what he's done with the BMW, Nick Wood has done exactly the same. An impressive performance from Nick. He's been a winner before in Orbic GT4 Australia, back when it was under the Waste Options banner. But now, last turn, checkered flag, and he's going to add his name to the winners list in turn 3 as well. Checkered flag is out. Nick Wood gets the job done. BMW on top. How about that in Orbic Australia GT4? Strategy is king. Nick Wood, masterclass, brilliant. Sam Chapman, Reece Gosner, Jordan Malcolm, Paul Wood, Dale Sharp, David Christensen, Matty Scholes, Nick Vadiatis, and Gary Cousins will make up the top 10. Michael Hammond has dropped to 12. Something has happened on the last lap. Michael Hammond has dropped to 12. And there's an incident involving Jared Knight and Michael Hammond under investigation. We'll need to have another look at that, because Michael's come across the line in 12th. Let's have a look at this. Oh, there was contact between the two of them. There was contact. Jared Knight's second incident of the night. Oh boy, those two have come to blows again. Let's have a look at it from Nick Vadiatis' angle. He's come across the line in 9th place as a result of this, and Gary Cousins 10th. Knight went first, Hammond second. But where did the contact happen, and who was at fault, more to the point? Did Knight get a little bit of brake check work, or did he give Mikey a gentlemanly nudge? Let's have a look at this. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, a little bit of a release the brake thing, and he's trying to get a run. So just misjudged that one.
So I think Knight will cop the whack for that one, unfortunately. I'm actually surprised that Mikey wasn't a bit... Yeah, there it is there, 10-second penalty. So a very quick decision from race control. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, because I would have expected Hammond to be a little bit more defensive and aggressive like that, but he didn't have to be.
Well, it's not really...
Have to be.
That spot there isn't really the passing spot. That's a setup spot. And I think Jared was probably thinking to try and do the old the MotoGP run where we're trying to get the power on and go run the outside to get the inside run into the next corner. But Mikey was still there, unfortunately.
Nick Wood, Sam Chapman, Reece Gosner, Jordan Malcolm, Paul Wood, Dale Sharp, David Christensen, and Matty Scholes, Nick Vadiatis, and Gary Cousins made up the top 10. And before that, Oliver Patterson, Michael Hammond, Joe Baldwin, Jared Knight, Brett Bradbury, Darren Mason, Phil King, and Adam Johnson were outside the top 10. Okay. Very nicely done. Jumping into the booth to have a chat to us tonight is Nick Vadiatis. You had the best seat in the house for the last lap shenanigans. Unfortunately, Jared Knight and Michael Hammond have come together, and you've gone from staring down the barrel of being just outside the top 10 to being just inside the top 10, mate. P9 tonight, well done. Up 4 spots on where you started. A difficult track for the Porsches, though.
Yeah, good evening, Zach. The Bailey Ladders Porsche felt all right around here, but I just wasn't pushing it to the limits. I was saving a lot of fuel, especially up through this part of the track. And that gave me the extra lap there. I was hoping to lead a lap there, but the other Nick led a lap for me, so didn't get the lead lap bonus. And I didn't keep it clean tonight, so I didn't get the clean race bonus. But going to that last section, I short-filled, jumped a whole heap of guys, and I had Mikey and Jared on my tail. I just broke too late. Mikey got past, and then Jared and I had a good ding-dong for about 4 corners through here. So it was pretty good. And then, I don't know what happened with those guys in front. I think they just, last lap eagerness got the better of both of them. And so, opened the floodgates and away I go.
And I guess more eagerness on Knight's behalf as well there, Nick, because he was trying to salvage or at least make up for the incident that he had on the opening lap where he just speared hard right off the circuit and dropped to the back of the field. So he'd been chasing his tail for 25 minutes.
The only time I'd seen him where he was in the wall on the right-hand side, and then after the pit stops, he was right on my tail. I don't know where he came from. So he obviously had the pace.
Oh, yeah.
And being a short race, not too much patience is needed because it's a short race and these are long laps around here, so you got to get on it.
And I know Adam Lavis is a big fan of the racetrack. He's sung its praises already. What are your thoughts?
I like the track. I wish I had more pace. I did. I mean, lap 3 of the race, I did my fastest lap of the race to that point, and that was faster than my qualifying. So I'm still understanding the track. I mean, I've watched MotoGP around here, but I'm still understanding the track, what the Porsche needs around here, because the Porsche's gearing is quite tall. So I'm thinking it needs a second gear, but it actually needs a low third in certain places. Through here, it's almost flat. Just trying to figure out how it flows with this particular car. As much experience as I have in this car, I don't have any experience on this track.
Absolutely. Now let's have a look ahead to the final 2 rounds of the season. Suzuka's the next stop, mate. How will the Porsche stack up there, please?
I think through all the twisty bits of Porsche will be all right. On the straight bits of Porsche will be poo. So we'll see what happens there. And then Magny Core, the less said, the better. For me, anyway. The Porsche should be okay around there.
Oh, dear. Very nicely done. Hey, just quickly, as far as the championship's concerned, does it work to your favour that so many people opted out of this one tonight?
I haven't even really looked. I don't know if Adam's updated the tables or not, but I mean, I was always going to do it. My team, we did a test around here just to get our heads around which way it goes. Some people didn't remember that test and yet ended up with a really good result. So,
who are you talking about?
So, as much as I still enjoyed it, you got to be in it to win it. And if you didn't turn up, you're missing out. So, you got to get laps under your belt, all that kind of thing. So, if you're not here, you're not doing laps.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. As far as the stable's concerned, Paul Wood was the best placed of your mob tonight, so we might go and have a chat to him. Good luck for the rest of the week, Nick. Nice to catch up.
Thank you, Zach. Always a pleasure.
There he is, Nick Fodiatis, one of the stalwarts of the club going back 14 seasons. Nick Wood and Paul Wood and Sam Chapman are here. I'll get to Paul Wood in just a moment. Let's get to Nick Wood, however, because we've seen some interesting performances from BMW throughout the course of this season without great success, mate. You've changed that tonight. You've put them on the top step of the summit in a game that's normally been dominated by the BMWs and the Porsches. By the Porsches and the Mercs, I should say. It must fill you with a great degree of satisfaction to have won up these guys on strategy alone tonight, and you stuck with them every step of the way. You hit all the markers, you ticked all the boxes, you did what you needed to do to give these guys a little bit of a push along, and then pull out a trick out of the old rabbit hat in the pit lane there, and all of a sudden you come out with a 2-second lead, and you managed to hold on to it. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It's I think down to the digital race engineer as our sponsor, and he's helping me with fuel. And the BMW's doing really well. I'm slowly getting used to it, so yeah, I'm pleased with the win.
It's not necessarily a series or a calendar of events that has favoured the car, but this track in particular, when you look at you and I guess Dale Sharp as well, with the exception of getting trumped by Paul Wood in the later stages in the pit lane, you guys flew the flag for BMW tonight and you both finished in the top 6.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a good track for the BMW. It suits its strengths, I guess.
And we're actually trying to work out when the last time a BMW won in GT4 was. It has been a while between drinks. You've managed to not just get yourself back on the winner's rostrum, mate, but also the manufacturer as well. The drought has been broken.
Yeah. I don't know when the last BMW was in the winner's circle, but it's my second win in GT4, so I'm happy with that.
And on the subject, I know you're preparing for GT3 now around the island, which is a completely different beast again. But obviously the car liked the circuit. What about the driver? What are your thoughts on Aragón?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I find it's a difficult place to pass, so I was pretty much just trying to fuel save the whole before the pit stop, basically.
So the difficulty of passing was what led you to just tucking in there behind and following the leader and doing a little bit of fuel saving, tactically speaking. You weren't entertaining the idea of trying to get past these guys on the track.
No, I don't think so. I think, yeah, that both Reese and Sam are probably a little bit quicker than me.
And I think based on everything we've seen throughout the course of the championship thus far, the Porsche and the Merc have been quicker across the board. So it's here we go. Jordan Malcolm just correcting us there as well. Term 4 last year, round 9. Oh boy, the nose stopper at Ritz-Carlton. I remember that definitively, but obviously there's been a lot of races, a lot of championships. I wouldn't have actually been able to tell you off the top of my head. So I'm glad that Jordan's all over it like a cheap suit. Well done, mate. And well done tonight on your top 5 as well. Nick, what now? How much confidence does that give you going into the final 2 rounds of this season? I mean, we've got, championship results are beyond any sort of reasonable doubt for you because you were 10th in the race coming into this round. But what can you salvage now when you look at Suzuka and Magny-Cours?
Yeah, I don't know. I just take it race by race. So I haven't really been hunting for the championship this one because I started in the Porsche on the first round and didn't like it. It was too bouncy on the front end for me, so swapped.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Hey, good luck over the next 2 weeks. Great to see BMW on top. Great to see you back on the podium and back in the winners rostrum. And go well in GT3.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very nicely done from Nick Wood. Let's go to Paul Wood, and then we'll get back to our mate Sam Chapman, who might consider himself a little bit hard done by tonight because he did all the heavy lifting, he did all the hard work, and still come up as the bridesmaid. Paul Wood, good evening to you. The best of the Astons at the expense of course, what happened to Jared Knight there. He unfortunately copped a 10-second penalty to add insult to injury. The incident with Michael Hammond, he lost a couple of spots there. Then he cops a 10-second penalty, and that was after, of course, doing himself a bit of injustice and a mischief at the start of the race as well. So that left you as the best placed Aston of the night. And Adam Laver said to us on commentary that you're doing your usual tricks. You weren't sure where you were going to be, how you were going to go, but once the race started, it all come up pretty hunky-dory for you, and you made your way up 3 spots. Well done.
Yeah, the Bailey's Aston did serve me quite well tonight. Coming into the round, I was not confident at all, and even in the coming to the end of qualifying, I was not confident. But then I made a couple of little tweaks. I thought, well, it's either make or break, and I happened to go the right direction, so the car felt really good. I still don't think I've got a car that's a race car per se to start challenging for positions. I'm just at the moment going for stability over the whole race, and It did really well. Basically, as the race come on, the car felt better and better, which is a step in the right direction for me. And just through pit stop strategy and that, I managed to get a couple of spots, so quite happy with that. Very unexpected result. My saying coming tonight was I'll just take whatever I can get. I thought I'd be starting down the back of the grid, but yeah, overall quite happy with it, and honestly very surprised to actually have got a top 5, so I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, even though there was only 18 on the grid, you got to be in it to win it, and you got to keep it on the black stuff and keep it straight. And you did just that. It was a very nice performance from you. And I mean, it was a circuit that we weren't sure who it would favour. It turned out that it was a track that brought BMW back to the fold. When are we going to see the Aston back up there pushing for race wins if it's not Jared Knight? Is anyone else, including you, capable of getting up there and pushing for the podium?
Oh, am I capable? I don't. Maybe if a lot of luck goes my way, but after this car tonight going into Suzuka, if I can keep it and it still feels as good there, I'm definitely going to give it a good shot. I don't know if I've got the pace to win, but that's where a bit of luck, a bit of strategy might go my way. But we'll see how we go. Like I said, the car's coming along. I'm making progress with it after struggling most of the season. So all options are open. But yeah, if I can get another top 5 next week, I'll be happy. If I get a win, I'll be over the moon.
All right, very nicely done. Suzuka, Magny-Cours, 2 very different race tracks. One a little bit more horsepower heavy than the other. not as they're both a little bit tighter and a little bit more technical than this Aragón circuit tonight. Firstly, your impressions of Aragón, and secondly, your thoughts on what's ahead.
I don't mind the track. I think it's quite a nice flowing track, as sort of, good variety of corners. And I do remember the practice we did as a team, but I just no longer got my new VR, so I spent the whole time trying to get it working, so I didn't really get the 2 laps. So coming in again tonight, it was like starting fresh, but it didn't feel too bad. I got up to speed pretty quick, which was good. And overall, I think it's a fun track. Like, we say it's hard to overtake on the track.
Yep.
I don't think it's an easy one. You've really got to be confident in the car, because there's a lot of sort of braking and turning zones with there. But overall, I enjoy it. I'd look forward to racing a few different cars here.
And it's interesting that you say that as well, Woodsy, because a lot of people wouldn't appreciate until they go out there and have a crack for it themselves, or at least watch a race unfold. But even though it's a wider racetrack and therefore, 2x2 side-by-side running looks like it would be a little bit easier, executing overtaking opportunities, the degree of difficulty there still seems to be relatively high.
It is, because a lot of the corners you feel like you can go a lot faster through them, but they sort of tighten up on exit and it can catch you by surprise very easy. So to make a move, you really got to plan it early and hope you're in the right spot. Otherwise, the door can close very quickly, which is not going to end well for anybody. So a hard one to overtake. Like I said, you really want to have confidence in your car. As for me here at this track, I didn't have enough confidence in the car to do it, so I knew the only spots I'd get was on strategy. But overall, a fun track. I think something a little more downforce could lend for more overtaking opportunities.
It's it's not only is it a fun track, but it's a very commitment track. You got to take all the curbs, really commit to the curbs, and you can tell that is the case by looking at the incident points. Over half the field are double digits with the incident points. Somehow Chapo managed to get a clean lap, so he's got some bonus points somehow. But everyone else is really trying to find those limits around here.
All right, very nicely done. Woodsy, good luck with what's ahead, mate. Look forward to seeing you on track next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Paul Wood. Chapo, well done. I mean, that was a hard-fought race, withstanding the pressure of Reece Gosner and also Nick Wood. But then again, Reece did himself a mischief in pit lane. He was 3 seconds longer in there than you, and you were 2 seconds slower than Nick, and that proved to be the difference in the end. It was a race, we've said it before, they can be won and lost on pit lane, and Nick Wood is very much proof of that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to Nick. It was a very good strategy race from him. When I saw him in third there, all race, just going, yeah, he'll be saving some fuel. He'll be there while I'm punching the hole in the air. So, but I couldn't let up because Reece was quick behind me and would have snapped me up. So, it was a good race, all in all. Obviously just couldn't get it done. Congrats to Nick for bringing the BMW back.
And that's a good thing for the category, isn't it, though, mate? Because, I mean, we look at 5 different manufacturers and distinctly 2 of them have been ultra-competitive this season. The Aston's had a little bit of success through 90, but now to see BMW back in the game, that can only be good things for the series.
Yeah, absolutely. The more different cars up there, the better, right? It just makes for a better spectacle, and it changes it up a bit as well when you've got cars of different strengths and weaknesses hanging around you that you have to work within.
And as for your own race, mate, I mean, you didn't put a foot wrong. You hit all the markers. It was just unlucky for you in the sense that Woodsy was able to one-up you there on pit lane. But as far as the championship's concerned, when we look at that, I mean, and I think Adam's been crunching the numbers here, the absence of Sam Muir tonight has tightened things up. Yes, he had some drop round points to fall back on, but it's a 2-horse race between you and him with a couple of rounds to go. And 90, unfortunately, a bit of a shocker, so he's now a distant third. So it's between you and Sam Muir for the title. Game on the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just about to book a last-minute trip to Bali for next week, though, so I'm going to see if I can bring the sim gear over now that it's this close.
Come on. What are you booking last-minute trips to Bali for?
Boredom. The boss said I could have the leave. I've got to take some leave anyway. Oh, no. And my mate's going away, so he was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Do you want to do it?
Oh, dear.
Maybe.
Brilliant.
We'll do that. And I've been told there's good internet at the place, but I guess we'll find out.
We will. Yeah, absolutely we will. My goodness. Well done. Bloody hell. Now, with regards to what's coming up, mate, I mean, when we look at, okay, so if you miss Suzuka, it could well be Muir's Championship for the taking, but then that brings us to Magny-Cours, and there's some extra points to play with there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you're in sort of range, in sort of 20, 30 points away, we've still got a chance with that endurance round. I think that'll be an interesting one because the Porsche is actually pretty decent in a straight line, but it eats up its tyres and is actually seems to be a bit slower in the corners, and especially obviously over curves. So Magny-Cours could be an interesting balancing act. It might be a little bit more of a Merc track, but I guess we'll find out.
Absolutely. Now, before we go any further, that comment on the right of screen there, I'm not sure who operates under the name of Grandad AU. I've got my suspicions, but I'm not sure exactly who it is. There are a few senior members in this club in the age stakes at least, but there are some senior members in the club from an involvement standpoint as well. And I have to put my hand up there. I've been here for the majority of all 14 seasons. The AGM was held yesterday. Since you two blokes are here, you're on the committee, you're involved heavily, integrally behind the scenes. It can be sometimes a thankless job, but there were a couple of changes yesterday with regards to the committee, but also some new roles have been created, and also, and quite rightly, I think it's fair to say, our good mate here, Chapo Adam Lavis, through all the hard work that he does behind the scenes, and it's not just broadcast production and direction of them, it's also putting race formats together, servers together, points matrix, updating the tables, all that sort of stuff. It's all that stuff that you people don't see at home. He's been made the first life member of the GSRC. So there's obviously intent for us to be here for a while. But no, congratulations to Adam. That's number one from me. But Chapo, your thoughts on that, and just update us on what else unfolded yesterday, please.
It's very much congratulations to Adam. He's also picked up the role as broadcast coordinator, which is effectively a role he's already been doing anyway.
Exactly,
so it's sort of makes it official.
It's just now got a title, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was good. You know, I've started on the committee as well, so it'd be good to be sort of a part of the club in that capacity as well, and be a little bit more in the know. It was a good AGM. I think the club's in good stead and we've got a good team.
Absolutely right.
So,
Adam?
We'll just, other than praise me with the butt in, but we've got to get across to the GT3, so we just need to do the commentator's choice award, and then we can do the Be Right Back screens.
Oh, geez. Hard to look past Nick Wood, unless he's already had it for this season. Can you confirm that for me, Adam? Hang on, I need to find that list again because Adam sent me the link last week.
Yeah, you gave it to Nick Wood in round 6.
Okay, so we've already given it to Nick Wood. All right, let's go and have a look and see where that list is and see what we can come up with for a name here. Stand by, folks. I'm just going to scroll back through all the comments here. So we gave it to Woodsy in week 6. We've given it to Knights, Augusta, Patterson, Chapman. Oh, geez. Have we given it to Matty Scholes? I don't think we've given it to Matty Scholes yet, have we? So, sorry? Not yet. We can now, though. Because not only was he inside the top 10 with 8, he was up 4 spots, which was more than anybody else, with the exception of Nick Fodiatis, who finished right behind him. And we also saw interaction and comments on Facebook saying how well he was performing and that he was on pace tonight. So Matty Scholes can have it for this week in a field where there was only 18 starters and we have to pick one. That's the one we'll pick. So well done to Matty Scholes. I would have given it to Nick Wood had he not already had it, because he got the W for BMW and a long overdue one. But on the notion that he's already got it and you can't have it more than once because sharing is caring, we'll give it to Matty Scholes. Hey, Sam Chapman, thank you. And well done to you on your performance tonight as well. Or has he already seen himself out? No, he's there. He's just muted. We're going to break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club off to the island on the other side of the break. Waste Options GT3 when we return. And we're starting with the AM split. Race 1 of round 8. Stay with us. Waste Options GT3 for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Second leg of the doubleheader Monday Night Motorsport, week 8 of term 3, night 1 thereof. And from MotorLand, Aragón, one of the newest circuits on the server, to an old traditional favourite of ours, the gateway to hypothermia in the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Victoria, where tonight we have the last sprint round of the season and therefore the last sprint broadcast, split broadcast as well, because we're going to start with GT3M and then make our way into GT3 Pro for their second race. I'm Zach Caban. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. No, it's not Liam Banks tonight. It's Grant Gill instead, deputising for Liam. Is a little bit under the weather. We'll get to Grant in just a moment. In the meantime, Dean Eldridge on top, 248 plays. Mark Foster, 236. Adam Holland, 234. Sean Rees, 232. And Neil Glubb on 190. We're running out of time here because cars are already moving, ready for the formation lap and the start of race 1. There it is, 1:30 in the afternoon 19 degrees ambient, 24 on track. That's a bit more like it for Phillip Island. Adam Holland and Neil Glubb in the front row. Tim Fuge, Matt Whitaker the second. Blake Fitzpatrick on the row 3. Porsches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark Foster's alongside him. Then Dean Eldridge and Daniel Correa-Sar, Greg Heaney, Sean Benici, William Yarwood, Stuart Thompson, Kelvin Little, Stephen Gallacher, Marty Mitchell, Tristan Kosh, Tim Watson, Aaron Bryan, James Francone, and Ryan Wooden take us back out through the top 20. Matt Carrick starting from pit lane. Let's get to work. 3 wide already, and the field too far spread out for my liking as we get Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport underway. Whoa, trouble at 1. Round goes Dean Eldridge, and thankfully off the racing line. Little bit of more trouble in front of him though, and there's the backup, the contretemps. Cars sprawling left and right and coming to a stop. My goodness gracious me, I had to hold my breath there, Grant. I was a little bit unsure what the hell was going to happen on the run into turn 1. Another 3 wide. I thought it was a little bit too early for that caper, and I didn't think it'd fly very well in GT3, and it certainly didn't.
No, it's completely not unexpected, isn't it? Turn 1, you just cannot do that. You really got to settle down. Tyres will be cold, even with that little bit of a run-up lap. But really asking for trouble. They'll be pretty skittish for the first lap or 2 anyway. That's madness.
Oh, it's the type of thing you can get away with in Formula V, in Hyundai Excels, in any of those smaller cars, even a bloody Mazda MX-5. Sorry to, create nightmares for Nick Goring. But yes, for those 3 cars, absolutely. For GTs, they're just a little bit too wide and a little bit too big. And unfortunately, there, as good a job as they did, it wasn't good enough. Blake Fitzpatrick comes to pit road. That's certainly unscheduled. Adam Holland leads the field, and there's been so much movement, top and tail, as a result of that turn 1 incident. We've got some big movers and shakers already. Matt Carrick, by staying out of trouble, has already moved his way up to 23rd, starting from pit lane. I'm starting to think it's a tactical thing for him to start from pit lane, just give himself a challenge. James Francone to 14th now. Blake Fitzpatrick to pit lane. Greg Heaney down 15 spots. Dean Eldridge down 19. Tim Fuge down 20. Stephen Gallacher 11. So some big names in GT3 M have been claimed. They're big scouts on the opening lap. Adam Holland stayed clear of trouble, Grant, and he leads.
Yeah, look, I've loaded up the pro split as well. They're just about to head off on their preparation lap.
We should also point out, Grant, that the reason why they're starting a little bit later is to give us a little bit of time to get from this split at the end of the first race over to their split for the second.
So I'll quickly run through. Richard Mitchell pole position, Reston in 2, Glissett 3, Hewitt 4, Matty Dench down in 5.
Okay, I'm not terribly concerned about that because we know what he's like.
Well, we do know what he's like. You'll probably save a bit of fuel as he goes. But so I'll keep an eye on if anything of massive interest comes up there. We'll keep the viewers updated.
Thank
and
you much.
Hello, Chris Kisby. Good to see you around.
It was Kisby. I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was because he has been the grandfather of the club for the longest time. Even though he's not here in an official capacity at the moment, he's always keeping an eye on us and tuning in when he can. So good on you, mate. Nice to have you on board. Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get down to Tassie to catch up with you, but I'll let you know as soon as I'm heading that way. In the meantime, Timmy Fuge, he got shunted rear and front, and that's why he's on pit road. So in this field, Grant, we've got Porsches 1, 2, 3, McLaren 4, and Lamborghini 3. Daniel Correa-Sar, our Thursday night colleague, there in 5th place. BMWs 7, 8, and 10 at the moment. William Yarwood, Stuart Thompson, and Marty Mitchell. And then we get down to the Ferrari brigade, starting with Tim Watson in 11th, a Ford in Luke Mackay down there in 17th, and the only Merc in the field is in pit lane at the moment. Actually, it's off track, my apologies. It's the other red light. It's Callum Heinrich in 28th. So the Merc not getting a great degree of love in this series at the moment, but the Audi getting no love at all.
Yeah, and Mark Foster in the McLaren, the sole McLaren by the looks of it. He did a very good job last week, so he'll be hoping to back that up again this week. Interesting to note, Sean Benici, of course, we know is from the United States, and Stuart Thompson's running a red flag with a yellow star or yellow sun in the middle of it. I'm not quite sure where that's from. That'll be Asia. And then Robert Galbraith's got a South Korea.
Yeah, it looks, the Stuart Thompson flag somewhat looks Vietnamese. Is it? I'm not sure. I'm going to have a look.
I'll do a little Google.
Yeah, you do that because you're the encyclopedia of the club when it comes to intricate knowledge. Michael Schroeder there in 14th at the moment, up around the outside, not going to get it done. Off goes Aaron Bryan. Bryan's dropping down the order, exit stage left at that hairpin at Miller Corner.
It's very similar to the Kyrgyzstan flag, but it's not that one. Might be a bridge too far for old Google. It's my very simple explanation.
It is the Vietnam flag, thank you.
Is it? AI would be able to do it.
Thank you, Chris Kisby. And we know that... trouble! Callum Heinrich, that was what happened to him. That's why he was off the road. Martin Carew's just correcting us as well. Stuart Thompson's a Brit living in Singapore, so a very similar story to Richard Mitchum. This is what happened to Aaron Bryan, just too deep, way too deep. Go on, see ya. Grass, kitty litter. So the field is somewhat spread out, but at the front, it's still Adam Holland, Matt Whitaker and Neil Gladwin separated by less than 2 seconds. Ryan Wooden there in 15th at the moment. We've got Mark Foster, Daniel Correa-Sar and Sean Benici 4th, 5th and 6th. We've got William Yarwood up into 7th, up 7 spots already as young William, very nicely done. Stuart Thompson, Kelvin Little, Marty Mitchell, the top 10. Ren Tim Watson, Tristan Koch, Michael Schroeder up 10 spots. Joe Baldwin up 10 spots into 7th, 8th as well. So there have been, because of the incident early in the piece, which we normally associate actually with the reverse grid race, the invert top 10 actually, Grant, to be fair. Let's be perfectly honest. We're just getting a request here from Neil McKenzie to go with Mark Foster for a lap. We might actually do that. We might go on board with him if you don't mind, Adam Lavis. Let's go. Let's watch Mark Foster at work here. I might even shut up in a moment and let him do the talking with the accelerator and the brake as well. But normally we'd associate that sort of garbage with the invert race, but we've had the garbage in the top race, which will spice things up even more for the invert race for Ram a little bit later on. Let's go for a lap with Mark Foster. Nice to have you along for the ride. It's Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, night 1 of week 8 of term 3 of 2023. And only about 5 weeks. Whoa, trouble for Neil Gladwin! I'll get back to my cheeky jab at the Sunshine State, the alleged Sunshine State in a moment. Neil Gladwin's had a big one at 1. Oh boy. And that's a race-ending one as well. We know that they've got fast repairs, Grant Gill in the AM split. They don't have that luxury in the pro split. We are aware of that, but when you put it on the tow rope in a sprint race like this, where it's only 21 minutes long, you make a rod for your own back and you're paying an invoice the rest of the night.
It might be a turn one. I think it's a turn one on the Porsche. There's a very
Tristan Koch as well.
It seems to be everyone's making the same mistake. There's two of them. It's two in the same spot.
Was that Trucker? Because he went too.
But these GT3s...
Yeah, for some reason, Trucker's livery isn't loaded, so...
Correct.
They're very skatey around here. I didn't see what our track temp was. There's Joe having an unfortunate moment. But yeah, right on the limit. As we've said previously, AM Split doesn't have quite the experience or expertise of the Pro Split. And
guaranteed to be the same thing here. There he goes. Just a Porsche on the rear end.
Good idea.
They've dialed out the wing.
I reckon they could all sign the same spot in the wall.
Indeed. Pick up a few spare parts as you go through. Who's this going through?
Michael Schroeder, that's live. And we've got a car blocking the entry to pit lane as well. That's Tim Watson getting back underway. Drama aplenty, carnage action aplenty at the island in the opening race of round 8 for GT3M. Thanks to Waste Options, Monday Night Motorsport platforms, Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Great to have you along for the ride. That's Adam Holland leading the way with Matt Whitaker in close tow. Porsche 1-2, and it was a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in qualifying. The troops are dwindling. Oh, jeez, Michael. Oh, more trouble. That's the Ford. That's Luke Mackay. Too wide out in the rough stuff and the dirty stuff.
What
through
a
the
save, but.
Great save, but still lost a couple of spots in the process.
Oh, there's mayhem, isn't it? As I said, you're right on the edge in these cars around this track. A lot of slightly off-camber corners. It's easy to just drop a wheel into the dirt on the outside of just about every one of the corners. Braking into there is always hard to get it turned in, and you've got to watch your throttle as you come out of here that you don't just light it up as you head around as well. A real challenge, Phillip Island. That's why so many people love it. Just quick update on GT3 Pro. Lap 5, we've got Reston leading Mitchum and Hewitt, then Blissett and Matty Dench in 5th. The top 5 are separated by about 1.8 seconds. Reston just starting to make a little bit of ground on Mitchum.
So, a little bit of bad news for Zach.
Yes.
James Crane has changed his livery from your favourite livery in the split. He's now running the Parramatta livery.
Oh, jeez. Why would he embarrass himself like that? I mean, jeez. We're going to have a chat to James Francona after this.
No more black and yellow Ferrari for you?
No. Who was running the red and yellow Ferrari? Oh, trouble! There's Luke Mackay again! Again, it's the Southern Loop! The save isn't as good, but by gee, he kept it off the wall as best he could.
You would have to think turning up in the Ford GT that you're really inviting yourself for an eventful evening. Oh, a little bit loose
Marty
out of there.
Mitchell in the Bimmer. So the Bimmer was the star at Aragón in the GT4 for Orbic Australia, but at the moment they're 6th, 7th and 16th. And you're looking at, they paid him more than you, Zach. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Marty Mitchell down there in 16th. Worst place to the Bimmers at the moment. Stuart Thompson is 7th and William Yarwood 6th. They're actually giving Sean Benici a big hurry up. There goes Matt Whitaker as well. Another Porsche bites the dust at turn 1.
All reading from the same
third
playbook
one
there.
tonight.
Our mate Daniel Correa, 3rd place, doing great job for Thursday night broadcaster. Really good to see him performing well.
Could be a case of, well, actually, there's something about Thursday night broadcasters and performing well, Grant, that you are very well familiar with. But secondly, it's almost a case of last man standing at the moment, survival of the fittest. How many Porsches are bitten the dust?
Yeah, look at the
to
lead.
The point where there's still 5 of them in the top 10, but they're not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like they were at the start of the bloody thing.
Yeah, we've got, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 different makes in the top 5. We've got Mark Foster doing a great job again in second place. Nearly 9 seconds down, but as you said, war of attrition. If you can just keep on track, you're probably in for a pretty good result, I think.
So round onto the main straight, Korea giving Foster a hurry up here. Across the line we go, lap 11 of 15. We're only 15 minutes into the thing here at Phillip Island. Holland the leader by 10 seconds, 9.1 to be precise. Korea Saar under pressure. Or on putting the pressure, applying the pressure rather.
That's the trouble we have, Chris, isn't it, Chris? Just staying on the track long enough to get a position or two. But it's so often the case that tracks that are hard to overtake, the best chance of overtaking is when the other bloke's off the track. Oh, down the inside, doing a good job. Oh, just didn't want to burn the front of his car off with the flames spurting out the back of his McLaren. Fantastic.
Riding on board. Well, actually, no, someone asked me the question last week, Grant, whilst we were broadcasting. On air, it was a question that came through from someone in the comment thread, not just Chris Kisby flying solo in there at the moment. They said the next thing that has to come with iRacing has to be fire. I mean, rain, fire, all those things, because we haven't seen any cars catch fire. The only evidence of fire we see in race cars in the virtual world is the flares and flames coming out of the back of the McLaren.
Indeed. And I think absolutely everyone in iRacing would be more than happy for them to continue working with the physics and the track realism and the tyre performance, etc., than mucking about with a few frilly bits on the side. But if they've got time on their hand, here we go. Oh. Don't drive a Porsche around turn 1.
Don't drive a Porsche at all at the moment.
Mm.
It was more a case of we were wondering how many start line crashes have led to fires. Oh boy! Well, sliding out of contention just like Parramatta slid out of contention in the NRL. That's somewhat very appropriate. To be
he'll
fair,
set him up. You're not
James Francone. Yeah. But look at the save here. Oh,
very, very well done. Once you're on the outside there, that's a quick road to the fence.
The other thing as well, this is Daniel Correa-Saar we're riding on board with. We now go back to the teammates. Oh, left the door open, did Stephen Gallacher. Stephen Gallacher leaves the door open. Ryan Wooden wants a piece of that. Tim Fuge as well.
Might be down on top end speed a little bit with the Atom-like front on that vehicle.
And Greg Heaney's in there too, just for good measure. It's a great scrap, that one. Dean Eldridge is sitting in the invert position at the moment. Matt Carrick, in amongst all the carnage, was originally meant to start third. Started from pit lane, avoided all the carnage, and has got himself up to 9th. So at this point in time, Carrick is staring down a front row start for the invert. Talk about gamesmanship. Have a look at that. That's a great power play from Matt Carrick to give himself some clear real estate in the opening stages of the next race. Matt Whitaker sitting 8th at the moment, the fastest lap of the race, 1:27.506. Dean Eldridge is 10th in the invert spot. He's got 1.6 on Ryan Wooden. He's got 7.9 up to... Matt Whitaker's gone. Matt Whitaker has gone. Forget about Eldridge. Eldridge is about to jump up into 9th. Ryan Wooden's now in the invert spot. And all of a sudden, this battle here, Wooden, Gallacher, Fuge, Heaney, becomes all the more important. One of them's going to get an invert. 3 of them aren't. Oh, another one bites the dust. Matt Whitaker.
Yeah, just ran too wide out of turn 1, out on the grass, and he didn't want to go spearing off in there, but he went off spearing in there.
That wall should be sponsored by Porsche. Indeed. Every single one of them has found it tonight.
Yeah, the Porsche, not like Le Mans, the Porsche curve. It's just a Porsche crash. Oh, and he's out again.
And that's Trucker. That's Trucker. Come on, Trucker. They don't drift on the grass, mate.
Oh, dear.
What's going on there? Speaking of Trucker, I've got some news that I've got to give to him a little bit later on in this broadcast as well. William Yarwood up into the top 5 now, up 9 spots. Our mate, the karting stalwart. Brilliant to see him having a good run. Caught up with him a couple of months ago at the Ipswich Kart Club. He said, there goes Ryan Wooden. He spins out of contention now in terms of that battle for the invert spot. No one wants the invert spot.
Who would have thought Phillip Island would be such a battle of attrition here?
Well, it normally throws up great racing, but this
Kelvin
is just
Little,
ridiculous.
7th.
The second race here is going to be well worth keeping an eye on. So I reckon when we swap over, Grant needs to jump into the air. Yeah, very nicely done. Thank you.
Just 2 laps to go, Zach.
Yeah, where did that time fly by? Thank you very much. 1.5 to go for Adam Holland, who leads the race by 7.9 seconds. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 who saw that coming at the start of the night. 4 in the top 5 with William Yarwood there in the Bimmer in 5th place, just ahead of Stuart Thompson. 5 manufacturers in the top 10 with Dean Eldridge in 9th place. So he's all of a sudden was on the invert spot now, isn't it? It's now belonging to Tim Fuge, but he has serious pressure looming from Greg Heaney. Oh, it's all happening here on a Monday night. My goodness gracious me. Matt Carrig up into 7th spot. Lucky for some. Lucky for him. It'll put him 4th place for the invert race very shortly.
Here's a view for you, mate.
Here we go. What's he? Oh, there he is. What's he doing on that side? Like, do iRacing even think when they plot him in, mysterious places? Like, the flag post is on the other side, on the pit wall, for Christ's sake. There's Michael Schroeder having an off-track excursion.
I think he's on the roller.
Yeah, absolutely he is.
But Sean Bonici's gone unmentioned pretty much tonight. 5th place.
Bang! Up and over! But what about the landing? Got it back on all 4s.
9.8 from the Russian judge there.
If it hadn't have touched the ground, it would have been all the more spectacular. Oh, jeez.
This is Yarwood just getting pipped by Stuart Thompson there side by side as they go through Siberia.
That is the battle for 5th, and it's the 2 Bimmers. Thompson giving Yarwood the big hurry up through the hay shed. At the front. Don't worry about Adam Holland. He's gone. He is gone. He will win this thing by 8.5 seconds. Yarwood fending off Thompson to Lukey Heights for the final time. I think he might have done enough to get it done. Round they come. Main straight, checkered flag. Adam Holland did it too bloody easy in the end. And I can't say I'm surprised. A race of attrition, a race of the walking wounded, a race of Porsches coming unstuck at turn 1, but Adam Holland was the exception to the rule. Foster edges out Korea Sara in photo for second. Benici, Yarwood, then Thompson. Thompson only 0.1 of a second away from Yarwood. More trouble on the final lap. Greg Heaney's gone. He was fighting with Tim Fuge for the invert. Now he's not. He'll lose 11th to Marty Mitchell. Francone's coming back through. He's going to salvage 12th. Gallich is giving him the hurry up. Heaney rejoins in 14th, and then 15th is Wooden. So you got Ferraris 12, 13, 14, 15, and 17 through Tim Watson. And look at the bottom of the leaderboard as well, boys. Look at that. 21st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th is all Porsches. That's the story of the night. The dominant force of the championship as far as a manufacturer is concerned, and they've all bitten the dust.
Yes, indeed.
Except for Robert Colbreth. He's actually going to come to the line and complete the race as the last of the finishers on the lead lap in 21st. But the rest of them, they've all got nightmares that are going to haunt them about this visit to Phillip Island. They'll be happy to see the back of it.
Yeah, this track is really skatey, and I suspect they've dialed out a lot of wing from their cars because it's open splits. And,
but in saying that as well, Grant, the car itself is skating.
Yes, absolutely, and we know how inclined it is to have the back overtake the front in the Porsche at the slightest instigation. It'll just go, oh, I want to be in front of the front, so round they go. But Mark Foster, another good second place. Adam Holland, like you said, 8.5 seconds out in the lead. Daniel Correa right on his hammer. And Sean Benici from America there in 4th. William Yarwood stuck it out for 5th. Thompson scored the 6th there with Carrig Little, Eldridge and Tim Fuge taking us down to 10th, and Tim Fuge was 31 seconds off the lead. Just update us, we're coming up to 20 minutes of the 21 minutes in the pro split. Liam Reston is way out in front, 3.84 seconds in the lead from Richard Mitchum, and he's got Hewitt, Glissett and Dench all within a second of him. So they'll be coming up to final lap this next time round. 23-degree track temperature there. Dench hasn't been able or hasn't been willing to do anything about the other cars at this point in time. Might be a little Achilles heel for the McLaren. We'll see how he goes when he starts in 5th for this second race, and of course we are picking up that broadcast straight out of the back of this.
We certainly are. And of course, on that note, we will keep everybody posted with what happens in race 2 at the AM split, because if race 1's anything to go by, it'll be action aplenty. My goodness gracious me. See, this is the thing. You get this sense that, in a sprint night, they'll ease into it in race 1. All the action will happen in race 2. We'll build up the hype. And race 1 will be a little bit tame as they get through the motions, they sort themselves out. But how wrong were we tonight? And nothing could have been further from the truth. Now, just before it blows up on socials, because
sorry,
hang on, go Grant.
Dench and Glissett.
This is GSRC radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Glissett and Dench coming into Miller Bend, Miller Corner. Dench has gone for the inside, and Glissett has closed down on him. Dench has stuck it out. He's stayed there in 4th, but Glissett's dropped down to 8th. So that's final lap. Reston from Mitchum, from Hewitt, from Dench, from Knight.
Now, will Race Control have a look at that? Will Race Control have a look at that? Oh, boy.
Yes. Well, we've got to work out if Race Control was working the AM split or the Pro split. But
well, that's true.
Or TCRs. TCRs on Thursday night is going to be a bit of fun from Sandown in the production car challenge.
That was a quick topic change from you, Grant. Hey, on the subject of that, though, you see the top left-hand corner of your screen at the moment. We couldn't do it without those people. Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, Astute Finance, Fisher & Door Lawyers, and Flash Graphics. I didn't get a chance to finish the point. I was making when Neil Glad. I'm blaming Neil Gladwin when he went exit stage right. I didn't get to finish having my cheeky jab at the state of Queensland, because I was going to say we're 3 weeks out from the end of the term, and we're sadly only 5 weeks out from being in a different century to the rest of the eastern seaboard. So start winding those clocks back 112 years now, folks. They might actually be done by the time we get to October 1. Let's get ready to rock and roll here.
You've got our bingo players back on track.
I do.
They're very keen because they thought they weren't going to fill the card out tonight, but that one's done.
We got that one done. Actually, on the subject of states that don't observe daylight saving, I've got some news to share with everybody before it blows up on socials, either tonight or tomorrow, whenever I get around to posting it, because now it's been announced, I can actually confirm it. Delighted to say that I've been approached and have accepted the offer to go over to Western Australia at the end of October to broadcast the Hyundai XL Nationals for this year, which are being held by run by the Western Australian XL Cup. WA XL Cup is their Facebook page. Go and support them, and we'll keep you up to date with everything happening in readiness for the Nationals, October 26th, 7, 8 and 9 over at carco.com.au Raceway, better known as Barbagallo, of course. So yeah, that's only been confirmed over the course of the weekend. My flights are already booked. Accommodation, I think, is being looked after by them over there. But all I've got to do now, Grant, is go and renew the passport and fix up the visa. Although I don't think I'll have as many issues with that as I used to when Emperor McGowan was parading over there. But I think we're good. Richard Mitchum got the job done in qualifying here from Liam Reston, Oscar Glissett, Wayne Hewitt and Matty Dench, as Grant said. The results from the sprint race will be known on the screen here in just a moment as well. Look at the twitchy foot boys. Have a look at them. 5 in the top 10. Magnificent stuff. Just to reiterate what Adam was showing you on the screen there a moment ago, Matty Dench leads 106 points back to Nick Wood, who's tied with Oscar Glissett, 2 points back to Simon Cox. So that incident for Oscar has implications as far as that battle with Nick Wood is concerned. 238 for Simon Cox and Richard King, 203 points, and 200 for Wayne Hewitt. Richard Mitchum, Liam Reston, and Oscar Glissett were, of course, prominent in that opening qualifying session and race, and there they are. Liam Reston getting the job done. Great to see him back in the server, actually. Mitchum second, and then Hewitt, Dench, Knight. Difficult night for Dench. Knight, Wood, Holgerson, Glissett slipped back to 8th, then Arnott and Hazard the top 10. The field is a deep field tonight. There's no doubt about that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 to John Wright. And from John Wright up to 4... bloody things... servers changed over for me, so I'll have to get a look at that a little bit later on. 29 the field. Now that the numbers have popped up next to the drivers, that's good. 29 on the grid tonight. 16:35, 4:35 in the afternoon local time there at Phillip Island. We're sitting on 19 degrees ambient, 19 on track. We're at 38% humidity and 31 kilometre an hour winds. So very, very strong winds at Phillip Island for this second race of Waste Options GT3. You know the circuit. We don't need to run you through that terribly much, ladies and gentlemen. You know the circuit. You know it by its famous corners. You know it for the amount of supercar rounds it's held over the years, the amount of big-time international race meetings through MotoGP and the World Superbikes as well. This is a racetrack steeped in history. It's one of our favourites here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It always delivers, whether it be excitement or entertainment. Tonight we've had both so far and more still to come. Andrew Hazard, Glenn Arnott at the front row, Oscar Glissett, Alan Holgerson the second, Nick Wood, Jared Knight the third, Matty Dench, Wayne Hewitt the fourth, Richard Mitchum, Liam Reston the fifth. Sixth row, Reece Dickerson and Matty Scholes seventh, Ian Style Hansen and David Christensen, then Matt Still, Ryan Moulder, Josh Robertson, Ben Woods, Dane Snadden and Russ Green. And back we go. Sam Chapman not on the grid here, but we're ready to rock and roll anyway. John Wright, Jeff Adams, Richard King, Adam Chiplin, Alan Dawson, Thomas Martin, Gregory Brooks and Stephen Lawrence. 14 rows deep this field, and look at them still. Bunch them up, boys. Let's form this up in a little bit of orderly fashion. I wasn't happy with the start in GT3 AM either. It looked a little bit rubbish. And it's going to be rubbish here as well because the pack haven't caught up. Andrew Hazard's not waiting for them to do so. He's taken off. He's gone. Race 2's underway. Round 8. Waste Options GT3. Monday night motorsport. Turn 3, week 8, night 1 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Hazard leads to turn 1. They're a little bit more tame than what the AM split was. Oh, no, I say that now and there's trouble.
Stay off.
Now, what happened to David Christensen on the run into turn 1? Because he actually come across the track from the inside of the ripple strip there, or he was on the grass. I'm not sure how that's happened, but it's caused all sorts of trouble. Matt Distill's on the tow rope, so too David Christensen. Off track, back on he goes. We're down to 28, we're down to 27 because Distill's parked up for the night and done. Disappointment for him. We've got Lee Williamson in race control. We've got Kevin Henderson in race control. So I think between the two of them, we've got the two splits covered here. And have a look at this at the top end of town. Oscar Glissett giving Andrew Hazard the big hurry up. They've gapped Arnott, Wood, Holgerson and Dench. And I said last week, Grant, in our coverage, in our post-race show with Denchy, that this is one of those trouble rounds because we know Phillip Island, we know so many people love this circuit. Oh, there goes Alan Dawson. This is fraught with danger when you invert the field on a track that everybody loves. Everybody's going to give 110% at. You've got a couple of ring-ins that aren't normally factoring in contention of the championship. Denchy with 106-point lead here. He can afford to be somewhat cautious in his approach here.
And in the opening race, he was very cautious, with only coming into Miller's that for the final time that he put the nose inside young Glissett's car, and I don't think Glissett was expecting him to be there, but he got out of that all right with the fourth, but he's got some work to do.
Indeed he does. And that's Andrew Hazard off the road, actually.
He's missed that. That was the lead.
That was our race leader coming out of the Southern Loop off the road.
No. It wasn't Southern Loop. It was first corner, mate.
Oh, it was first corner. Okay, I took my eyes off the screen to have a look at the timing screen, and I thought Grant took up front running there, and this is what's happened on the... Uh-oh. Oscar Glissett on the inside. Uh-oh. Oscar's in a bit of trouble, I think. And Hazard will also be in trouble because you can't cut the circuit like that. So Hazard down in 24th place. Holgerson there in 4th. Nick Wood in front of him. Matty Gench behind him. He's in some trouble here. Main straight. Another lap gone. Look at how tightly bunched the field is here. Remembering, 37 minutes or 25 laps, whichever comes first. They haven't thrown a safety car, despite some carnage early in the piece. And really, Grant, as we said with Aragón, you're not going to get a safety car there when there's only 18 in the field and you've got so much runoff area. Here's very similar, unless we had a dead set block circuit and everybody parked up struggling to get back going at the Miller Corner or at the bottom of Lukey Heights. Thankfully, we've avoided that. So I think this will go green to the checkered flag as Oscar Glissett goes 1:27.467, and beyond that, Glenn Arnott goes 1:27.725. It says 4.3 there, but it says 7.25 on my screen. Copy that. Okay. Yeah, Glissett's the same purple on mine as well, but not sure. Not sure. Up over the top and down, and very appropriate. Big sand, big sand.
Oh,
there was a bit of hip and shoulder there. Very appropriate that when you get to Phillip Island, you've got storm clouds hovering in the shadows there. Can't sound surprised by any of that.
Reston, of course, our winner from the first race, so he's on a bit of a mission to make his way forward. But Holgerson last time round was right out on the edge of the grass, but he's closed up on the back of the car right in front of him now, which is Nick Wood. Here we go, turn 1, lap 1.
Oh, we got sent from the outside, and he got on the follow through.
Palmer.
Oh no! Oh jeez. Poor old David Christensen. 1 hit, 2 hit. Oh, dear. Through Lukey Heights, Alan Dawson. Well, that was the hay shed, the run to Lukey Heights. He got some assistance as well. Oh, yeah. And there's been some bad nose to tail contact tonight.
Really no excuse for that. No excuse whatsoever.
David Christensen's parked up for the night. He's out of business. Chiplin Adams and Gregory Brooks have all just headed off the road momentarily. Richard King getting a help around there. He's on the tow rope and in pit lane. Andrew Hazard as well. So those guys, we're slowly but surely whittling down the contenders. 4 of them already out of business. Uh-oh. Gregory Brooks.
Tears. Always going to end in tears right there.
And Stephen Lawrence now showing off the road as well. So too Ryan Mulder. There's plenty of carnage happening here at Phillip Island. So yeah, we're down to 24 contenders already. A high rate of attrition for a race that's only 4 laps deep. 1:27.007 for Oscar Glissett as Stephen Lawrence kicks up dust.
Yeah, he ran wide. Just tried to bite off that little bit too much coming up to Lukey Heights there. So Holgerson, a little bit of a cork in the bottle. Glissett out by 2.5 seconds, and then another second back to Holgerson. So Holgerson will be struggling a bit on draft, and the others will be just taking advantage of that air he's putting through their car. There's a move. Who was that? Knight on Hewitt. Nice work.
I think it was Hewitt trying to get the move done at night, and he had to back out of it.
Copy that. The Oscar Glissett making hay up the front there with those fastest laps, 0.4 seconds of a second faster than just about anyone else. Kalau, he's bidding farewell to his USB on lap 3 for the AM race.
Oh no.
Is that David Christensen?
I think it's Callum Heinrich. I think.
Callum Heinrich in the end split. Yep. Jeez.
Now I've been unable to load that server up because I think because the sprint format not letting me in. But
You should be able to go to watch mode.
Yeah, you should be able to jump in, isn't it?
Just showing no upcoming events at all.
Copy that. All good. We'll keep an eye on it at the very end.
Like you're withdrawn from the GT.
Yes, I do. And is it AM split or the Pro AM split?
AM split.
Yeah.
There is no pro am.
No, I've still got it. Anyway, let's look at this race.
Right.
That's enough about me. Let's talk
Oscar
about you.
Glissett, Glenn Arnott, Alan Holgerson. Holgerson has a tremendous amount of pressure lurking on him at the moment. Oh, Dench gets a nudge from Reston. He just barely hung on to it. The car was sideways.
It's a 7-car choo-choo train.
Holgerson, Wood, Dench, Reston, Knight, Hewitt and Mitchell. It's that 7. With Sal Hansen also under pressure from Reece Dickerson beyond that, and Josh Robertson and John Wright sharing the same real estate as well. Or at least arguing over it.
Yeah, 4 different brands, top 5. We've got Oscar in the Porsche up the front, and 2 BMWs, Glenn Arnott in 2, Holgerson in 3, Nick Wood in 4, and Matty Dench in the Merc.
There's a reason Trucker doesn't race GT3, and he just reminded himself why. Hello, Joe.
There we go. Well, is that not the real Joe? Joe Baldwin.
Poor old Trucker. I feel sorry for him because he would have had a crack again. He would have had a crack because it's Phillip Island. Everyone wants to have a crack at the island. Any excuse will do. It's
Reston's got good pace. He's right up alongside Denchy now, so he's come from 10th and made good ground.
Oh, that's fantastic. Trucker, feel free to stop on by the broadcast booth, mate, and say hello to us if you are still there. If not, I'll have a chat to you off the line at the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, once you're settled and you've washed your mouth out with soap, we'd love to have you.
Because because now that I've got that news confirmed, I'll arrange to catch up with the great man when I'm over west in October. It'll be one of the things that is on the to-do list for a trip to Perth at the end of October. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'll make sure that I put some links up so that you can follow along with all the action from the Hyundai XL Nationals once I'm there. And the next one, Ryan Mulder, come on. Merck's doing Porsche things, but only with first assistance from grass. Look at Dench. pushing.
Yeah, I think
Nick Wood along. How good.
Gap up front, Glissett's got 2.7 seconds over Arnott, and then another 1.6 back to Holgerson and Wood and Dench are right here. There's in front of us.
Dench squeezing down the inside to turn 1 and got it.
Reston wants it too.
Yeah, Reston's going to try and go around the outside, is he?
Yeah, that doesn't often work.
Nah.
It gives you a good run onto this straight though. He should be quick right down in Miller.
The problem is they've let Holgerson bolt. They've given Holgerson some breathing space. And Glissett's got some too. Glissett, Arnott, Holgerson, although I think Glissett has a case to answer for his incident earlier in the piece. So I don't think you'll have to worry about him being part of the equation. I think he'll have a case to answer for in race control. With that nose-to-tail contact of Hazard, who's now out of the race, by the way. Now through the hay shed and on to Lukey Heights. Joe Baldwin has joined us in the booth, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to the great man in just a moment. Oh, off goes Nick Wood! Nick Wood spears off to the right-hand side and smashes into the tyre wall.
Was there a touch?
He was the hero in GT4. And it all comes crashing back down to reality for him in GT3.
That was a huge exit stage, right? Just to interject there. I'm not sure what triggered it, but just he's got no. I did that about.
Hot. Just come in too hot.
On that note, Joe Baldwin, a very good evening to you, although not such a good evening on the racetrack.
Look, I was pretty happy with the GT4 race, so I'm happy to talk about that one, even though I think finished 13th, 12th or 13th, or something like that. Oh no, that's an odd way to make your way to the pits.
That'll
Yeah.
actually come with an unsafe entry, I'd imagine.
You drop
But
those
thankfully,
two wheels on the outside, and that's not exactly where you'll end up.
no. Now, just before we go any further, Trucker,
Yes, mate.
you won't be alone. Hold on to it! Hold on to it!
And he
And
does.
did so. Oh, goodness gracious me! Look at this side-by-side racing through the hay shed. Have a look at these boys turn it on. Magnificent! Oh no!
no.
Oh no! Come on, got to be better than that.
Good evening, Chris. Yeah, almost drive anything.
We're just playing highlight reels of crashes at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest with you.
That was Stephen Lawrence going into the woods in the right vehicle. Glissett leading out. He's got his timing's gone a bit wonky on me. He's out in front, 3.6 seconds in front of Glenn Arnott, who's then 1.9 seconds behind Holgerson in third. Matty Dench is closing in. Well, he's closed in. He's right there, isn't he? And Liam Reston, winner of the first race. 1.46 fastest lap to Reston, so he's tucked into the draft there and caught right up.
So, Trucker.
Yes, mate.
Since you're now in the booth, I might get you to get the pen and paper out and start giving me some suggestions and some ideas of where to visit when I'm in Western Australia at the end of October, when I'm at Barbagallo, and hopefully you'll come and grace us with your presence trackside as well.
Yeah, we'll certainly make a trip up there, mate. It's only about a 2.5 hour drive from where I'm based down in Bunbury, down in the southwest. So if you've got enough time, you've got to. Anybody who travels over to the west has got to take a look down around this way. The Margaret River region's quite spectacular down here, and yeah, there's definitely a lot to see over in WA. So
So Holgerson's been caught. Holgerson's been caught. We knew that wouldn't take long. Denchi was intent to get on with it. When he got past the likes of Reston and Knight there earlier in the piece, and Hewitt and Mitchum as well.
Look at Reston on bench though.
Yep. And also Nick Wood was the main one that had to get by. Dane Snadden out of business. Stephen Lawrence, Ryan Mulder, Nick Wood, Jeff Adams, Richard King, all out of business. Andrew Hazard, David Christensen, Matt Distill, Sam Chapman didn't even bother starting. So in this split, you got Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, McLaren, the top four manufacturers in the top four. Beyond that, you haven't got any other manufacturer on the grid. So no Ford, no Ferrari, no Audi, no Lambo in this field. Just a 4-horse race in a manufacturer sense. Holgerson doing well to fend off Dench. Glenn Arnott's 4.5 seconds up the road. Then Oscar Glissett, Glenn Arnott's actually 1.7 up the road, and Oscar Glissett's 4.7 beyond that. Lap 11 of 25. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'll go, Joe, because at the end of the day, I am flying in and flying out, flying in Wednesday, flying on Monday. And the reality of the situation is I don't think they've got a hire car for me. Otherwise, I'd definitely be tempted. So, but definitely keen to get back as a tourist at some point. I don't think you could sell me on living there, though.
No. We live in a backward state that doesn't have that silly daylight savings, right?
Yeah, but at least
we'll agree to disagree on that one.
At least, Joe, as I was saying to a few people earlier, at least the time difference over there makes a lot more sense than up here. I will say that much. In saying that, though, can you also let me know what the visa and passport requirements are before I get on the plane, just so that I don't get caught at the entrance to Perth? Although is that or is that no longer an issue now that McGowan's gone?
No, it's not an issue now.
Oh,
no! Oh, that's
look at Ben
Woods.
Sorry, we're getting caught talking politics, and Ben Woods has crashed into the wall. Another Porsche bites the dust, but for a different, for a point of difference, Grant. But he's gone at turn 12, not turn 1.
Yeah, he high-sided it. He just had a little wiggle out of the back, and then he tried to correct that. And by the time he'd got a hold of it, the momentum, the swing from one side to the other, just took over. But Holgerson must have that wing absolutely wound out on the Merc, because Matty Dench, if he wants to get by him, he hasn't been able to. But we know who goes Matty Dench. Dench has been quite
Yes.
defensive up and over Lukey Heights and just keeping Reston. You have a look again. Reston will have a look down the inside, but Dench will go inside, just block it off. No, you don't, mate, and wind it back up again.
Oh dear. So obviously, Trucker GT4 Aragón. Let's talk about that because there's so many people that are going to put Phillip Island in the bin and try and forget about this one very, very quickly. Otherwise, it'll give them nightmares. It's just been one of those nights, particularly if you're a Porsche driver. Although they're having a better run in the second race in terms of their success. But at the bottom end of the tree of the 11 drivers that currently find themselves out of the race, and the one non-starter, you've got 6 Bimmers, 5 Porsches, and a Mercedes.
The Porsche around here is what I was driving, and I can tell you, it's an absolute handful. Like it's got a real pendulum effect about it. But in saying that, I'm like amazing in GT3s, and I've got fantastic setups for the Porsche. But it's the fast guys in the AM split were in the Porsche as well. Like when I bowed out, the top 3, I think, the top 3 or 4 were all driving the Porsche, and they didn't seem to have much trouble. So. It's like any of the Porsches. It's got its own particular driving style of point and go, I guess is a way to put it. It doesn't. I had a lot of trouble at turn 1, just as soon as you got on the gas.
Sorry, Joe.
No, that's all good. But that McLaren Dench is doing a good job in that. Here he goes.
He certainly is.
Oh, that was very nicely done. Clinical from Matt Dench, as per usual.
Into the pit.
And into the pit lane comes Liam Reston. Yeah, he's had a gutful. He's had a gutful. Don't blame him.
He wants to keep the paint on the front of his car. Take a look at those flames.
Oh. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Reston and Knight to pit road, 7th and 8th.
A very sad Porsche there. Oh, tyres.
Yeah,
well,
Phillip Island
the Porsches have been struggling, haven't they?
And Phillip Island is a very tyre-hungry track, so you definitely want to take those outside tyres here.
Copy that.
And they have updated the GT3 as well, Grant, 2 seasons ago, I think now, where you could go 2 hours in a server with a set of tyres before. You can't do that now. You can get one stint at best out of them. 2 stints is a real stretch, even in the endurance races.
Yeah, well, it's the what is it? The outside rights, the ones getting all the punishment around here. I think track temperature will be pretty cool, which that'll be helping them. But Jared Knight right on the tail of Reston here.
You're only taking 2 tyres because 4 tyres takes 20+ seconds here. So they've only got time with the sprint race. So the little limit on a fuel they get stuck in, they can only get the 2 tyres in time.
Yeah, the dead set crucify you, wouldn't it, if you went any more than that?
Well, Knight's right on this. He was 1.1 seconds quicker in the pit stops there, so he's going to tuck into the raft of Reston here and hopefully get dragged right up to the front of the field. But Blissett doing absolutely magnificent job. I'm sorry, Oscar, that's the end of it for you as soon as we cut to you. 5.5 seconds out in the lead, then Holgerson 1.6 back, Dench half a second back from there.
That shot.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot through turn 10, MG corner, as they used to call it back in the day. Round to complete lap 15. It's flying on by tonight, hasn't it?
And I think we need to congratulate Joe on being voted into, was it RC coordinator, Joe?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well done, mate.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, race control coordinator. So I think looking at the committee we got this season, not that we've ever had any issue with committees pass by, and we want to put our hands together and thank everybody that's been involved on the committee up to this point. I think we're at 3.5 years now, and there's been a lot of names in the background there that have made it work. A couple of guys have come and gone, and that happens with all clubs.
Dench.
Always wide.
No, well, he was trying for that dive down the inside. What do they say, Joe? On the shoulders of giants we stand.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's been a lot of great guys in the club. Dave Johnson, he put in tireless work before he stepped away not so long ago, and obviously Adam Maverick, our broadcaster tonight. I'm sure it's been said before, but congratulations to him on his lifetime member award. So it's well deserved there. But yeah, I think we got a great. There's a bunch of new names in the committee this season, so we'll get some fresh ideas and go forwards. I'm sure people will be happy with how the club goes forward.
There goes Glissett. There goes Glissett. And Ian Starl Hansen's coming to the pit lane as well. Still in pit lane, Ben Woods, Andrew Hazard. Those guys aren't going anywhere, let's be perfectly honest. And 75% of 25 is 19. So if you get to 19 and you're still in the server and you're still active, you survive, you will obviously be classified. But we are already down to 17 cars on the black stuff at the moment. It has been a turd of a day for so many. Already at least a third of this field out of business. And we're only 2/3 race distance.
4.3 Glissett to Reston. Reston currently in second after the pit stops, if you take the cars in front of him out. So he's done a really good job, and Glissett's come out in clear air as well, which is a great advantage for him. We've got a little side conversation going on here.
126.64 is the fastest lap of the race now, and that's for Liam Reston. In come Arnott, Holgerson, Hewitt and Mitchum, and on goes Dench to lap 17. Can I say we're surprised? No.
So
Dench doing Dench things again.
So also, Oscar used a little bit of his margin up in the pit stop because he just slightly overshot his book. So did who is that? One of the 2-foot guys in the background. Richard.
I'm going to have to leave you guys. I'm back at work tomorrow after last week's things, so I've got to get myself organised, fellas, and get a bit of a reasonable hour. I've been having a lazy week, getting up when I like, but that all ends tomorrow. So,
hey, look after yourself, Joe. Good to catch up, mate. Hard luck in the GT3s, but well done in the GT4s. Good to see everything's right on the health front, and enjoy work, and we'll catch up in October.
Absolutely, we will. Thank you, guys.
So Reston's jumped a whole bunch of me. He's up into second outright, depending on where Matty Dench comes out.
Yeah, what's that? 28 seconds, 28 and a half seconds back to Reston from Dench. So we'll have to see. Look at Holgerson. Absolutely right on the tail of Glenn Arnott. And really keen to give that a bit of a hurry up. And Jared Knight there now tucked in behind Holgerson.
Dench is in.
All right, critical time. I just don't think Denchi's got that surfeit, that excess of pace that he can just rely on. But we will see straight after the stops. And a little surprised we haven't heard from David Dench and Veronica. They must be in between internet stops out in the west of WA there.
10.2 stocks, so it's 2 seconds faster than most everyone else. Here he comes.
Here he comes out behind Oscar Glissett, and the chase is on. He's leapfrogged Reston, who goes down the inside. Reston gets Dench. Dench jumps up to third, but Glissett leads this field, and he does with 8 to go, and it does so by 3.1 seconds.
Diminishing, it's coming down. Maybe Oscar, didn't see if he took tyres or not, but just letting the car come back in under him. And having said that, last time round, 127.429 for Glissett and 126.779, so 7/10 quicker for Reston. Oh, hello, David. Nice of you to pop in.
Confirm Oscar does have a 10-second penalty for that lap 2 incident with the Hazard.
Ah, there you go. That's why he was...
how much penalty?
10.
10 seconds. Copy. So that's 10 for Glissett. Reston leads by... theoretically, that would mean that Reston's the leader, Dench is second, Arnott third, Holgerson, Knight, Hewitt, and Glissett's going to slot back in behind Hewitt, but by the skin of his teeth, because Richard Mitchum's only 0.7 behind that 10-second deficit. It's all happening.
Yeah, Reston just closing him down, 10th by 10th. It's thousandth by 100th by 100, and Dench is doing all he can to hang on to the back of that Porsche. It's 0.75. So, as Matthews said a couple of times, the only way to make that McLaren go fast is to put it right on the razor's edge. And around here, that's a very dangerous place to be. But we know he's got the skill to manage something like that.
And again, this is damage control for Denchi. He does not need to, pull out all the stops to win this thing. He's got a commanding lead in the championship. He's got that all but sewn up. He can wrap it up next week, technically, at Mount Panorama with a clean, smooth, uneventful run and not even have to bother returning up to Road America. But we know he will, because everyone loves a run around Road America, particularly 90 minutes worth of it. That's coming your way September 11 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And then, the grand final of the season, as far as broadcast will be concerned, will be September 14. So looking forward to that. I was going to say at this stage, I was contemplating going to Suncorp on Thursday night for the Broncos Melbourne match, but TCR at Sandown is actually swaying me to stay here and watch the Broncos storm on the telly. So let's hope that a good field turns up for TCR. Otherwise, I'm going to be disappointing and teeing off. But that's okay. 6 laps to go. I actually also haven't seen if there's tickets still available and what the cost of them is. So, and I'm already taking in another 3 days of rugby league this weekend. So if I have to take in a fourth, it might be just a bridge too far. Thankfully, I get paid for the first 3. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Jared Knight, that's 6th place at the moment. He's got Wayne Hewitt for company. They're trying to go with Alan Holgerson, but Holgerson's about to be out of the tow, out of the slipstream range.
Well, Reston...
So this has been tame, really, compared to GTM, hasn't it?
It has. They've kept it on the road mostly, but Reston just chipping away at Glissett. We now know that he doesn't have to do anything because, don't touch him there. It's 2.6 seconds now, but there's a 10-second invoice for Oscar Glissett to pay. Matty Dench has dropped out of the draft from Reston, so he's 1.8 seconds back from Reston. Couldn't go with him. Still up 4 spots, Reston up 8 spots, and behind Dench is Glenn Arnott, who's 1 point. Oh, that's coming down very quickly. Has Matt Dench had a little moment there? I think he might have. That gap's now out to 3.8 seconds to Reston, and Glenn Arnott's right on his hammer.
So 6 laps to go. We've got Glissett, Reston, Dench, Arnott, Holgerson, Knight, Hewitt, Mitchum, the top 8, Dickerson and Wright, 9 and 10. Russ Green, Ian Stale, Hanson, Thomas Martin, Gregory Brooks and Adam Chiplin, the top 15. Rick Wood and Matty Scholes, Alan Dawson. So Wood's still out there, but he's a lap down. He's 16th. Richard King's out there after 14 laps. He will leapfrog Alan Dawson and Matty Scholes, who have just departed for the night not long ago. Ian Stale Hanson's off the road at the moment, so that's not good news for Stale Hanson. Thomas Martin's going to claw that position off him. 12th now for Martin, up 15 spots. But yes, Matty Scholes is out of business. Alan Dawson's out of business. The last 2 cars on the racetrack are Richard King and Jeff Adams. They are down 19th and 20th, but they are effectively 17th and 18th. 18 of 28 that started still running in this race, to give you an idea of the sort of rate of attrition you come to expect in a half-hour GT3 race around for the final. More than usual. But then again, we lost 8 of the GT3s in the AM split in just a 21-minute race. This one's 16 minutes longer, and the attrition matching it in the pro split. Be interested to see what the AM split's been like.
Glissett doing a fantastic job out in front. He's now dropping back into 6th place. He's just got, or just 5th now. He's just got 10.1 seconds over Jared Knight, who's currently in 6th. So if he can keep this pace up, that was a little bit slower for him that time round, but he's looking like dropping in around that 5, 6, 7 area, depending on what the other guys do.
If these two start battling, they'll help him out.
Yes, true. So Dench, Dench must have had a moment, I suspect, maybe over Lukey Heights there and somewhere around that area, because he dropped way back off Reston, and as we said, has Arnott and now Holgerson joining in the party right behind him. Showing the nose. Jeez. Oh, it's simultaneous. Was there a touch? I don't know if there was. I think they both just went around on the throttle.
Jared Knight can't take a trick tonight, Grant. He
No,
cannot
cannot.
take a trick. And Wayne Hewitt's still off the road. This is Wayne Hewitt contact on Jared Knight, is it? No. Yes,
Oh,
on the
the
exit. The
slightest
smidge.
Yeah.
Smidgen. In it. That's all there was. And Jared Knight involved in his third incident of the night, but his first in GT3. Ian Stale Hansen going bush bashing once more. That looks like it's our favourite part of the racetrack to go bush bashing as well.
He's got the modified grill on.
Out of the southern loop. Actually, no, I was thinking it was Siberia. It's out of the southern loop. Here it is.
Just wide. Yeah.
See ya.
Corner will get you almost every time.
Oh, yeah, there's a roller
time.
coaster there as well. Yeah. There we go. Very nice.
I think this might be where he lost his bumper.
Arnott got Dench.
And there we go. Glenn Arnott to third on Matt Dench. Ian Stale Hansen through MG again. Oh,
The bumper was already
geez.
loose and he just finished it off.
Yeah,
Bang.
I think those tyres are screaming. I've had nothing so much. Holgerson now giving Dench a hurry up for fourth place.
And she's actually going off track here.
Yeah, right. Oh, he's done so very well to keep it on there. And so that was Glenn Arnott right behind him, and he'll just waltz past him, because if you don't get the best run off that corner, you're just a sitting duck all the way down there.
And we weren't sure how the McLaren was going to perform here tonight against the Porsches and the Bimmers and the Mercs. But Denchi's punched as best he can, and he might just have to settle for fourth here. Up over Lukey Heights, third last time. He's got Holgerson working as well, Grant.
Yeah, Reston's got that gap down to 1.3 seconds now, so he is closing in. Last time round was good 4/10 quicker.
That's going to be interesting as well, because Glissett's actually, he's got that 10-second invoice, but if he wins the race outright, he will finish.
It's very close to him being third at the moment. It depends on what these guys do. Yeah, they're
That's right.
They're right in the bubble.
Yeah, they're 9.4. Dench
Be
is
third,
9.4
fourth, fifth, or
behind
sixth
Glissett.
at worst.
And what a great drive from the young fella. Absolutely. We hardly seen him because he's, apart from that little indiscretion early on, he's hardly put a foot wrong. And it's probably good we haven't seen him, because I'd have him off into the weeds.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. The indiscretion has cost him the invoice, and that's going to cost him the W.
I don't think Dench is too comfortable with Arnott sitting right in front of him, or maybe he's just thinking, well, we'll put a bit of pressure on you and see what you got from me, Glenn. 2 laps to go, so closing down fast on the end of this one.
So through they go once more. Dench in fourth place all over the back of Arnott. Holgerson there as well. Reston's close to within a second of Glissett. We're on the penultimate lap. White flag out this time by. If Barney's doing his job, actually he is. He's just doing it from the spectator vantage point on the main straight.
Concession stands.
Yes,
This be a run.
Round onto the main straight. Holgerson's outside 10 seconds behind Glissett now. But these two are just within 10 seconds of Glissett. Down the main straight we go. White flag in the air. Final lap of the island. 1 to go. Run to the checkered flag.
Does Dench want to chance it? Does he want to throw it in there and have a go? We saw, or I saw at the end of the first race, very final time in the Norris corner. He did throw it down the inside, but he's just got back that fraction there.
More replays coming your way. There's been more replays in the live action so far tonight, I think. And that's Richard King joining the highlight reel for all the wrong reasons. Whoa.
You just put the wheels on the outside of the track and you're going, oh, look at Dench all over him.
Whoa, watch out. Watch out at Lukey Heights into MG. Dench is right there lurking like a cheap suit, like a bad smell. Have a look at this. The Merc and the Bimmer and the McLaren, and the Merc working with Holgerson, and Dench trying to set Arnott up. Through they come. Oscar Glissett faultless, but unfortunately He's been slogged 10 seconds for giving Andrew Hazard a fairly hefty touch at turn 2, or turn 1 rather, on lap 2. Oscar Glissett, Liam Reston. Liam Reston's going to get the job done as far as the W is concerned, and you're right, Grant. Glissett will still hold on to second. What an incredible recovery that is. What could have been third, fourth, fifth, or sixth ends up being second. That's a great bit of salvage mission driving from him.
Oh, no, we didn't. I was going to say...
Glenn Arnott third, holds it off Dench, Holgerson and Mitchum. Knight, Dickerson, Hewitt and Wright make up the 10.
I got confused there. I thought we missed Raymond and Raymond. I don't remember the incident with Jared.
Fair bit to pick apart in all of that, really, if I'm honest. So Oscar Glissett will be denied the victory, but it's the next best thing. It's second for him in a race that otherwise could have landed him much further down the order. So I guess as far as positive outcomes are concerned and making the best of a bad situation, you can't do much better than that, Grant. We've lost Grant momentarily. Oscar Glissett, Liam Reston, Glenn Arnott, and Matty Dench, Alan Holgerson, Richard Mitchum, Jared Knight, Reece Dickerson, Wayne Hewitt and John Wright make up the top 10. Russ Green, 11th. Thomas Martin, Greg Brooks, Adam Chiplin, and Ian Stahl Hansen, Nick Wood, Richard King, and that'll just about do us. Jeff Adams was out of contention. King got to 19 laps, and that's enough to be classified. So there'll be 17 finishes in that, and no more. Scholes and Dawson parked up. Robertson, Woods, Snowden, Lawrence and Mulder. Hazard on lap 3. Christensen and Distill as well. We'll wait to see if any drivers grace us with their presence after that. It was preservation mode, really, for Matt Dench tonight. Tim Fuge won the second race in GT3 and from Matt Carrick. 0.7 the margin. Carrick standing by in race control, so there might be a case to answer for there for somebody. Daniel Correa-Sarr, a podium. Well done, mate. Greg Heaney, Kelvin Little, Stuart Thompson, Dean Eldridge, Mark Foster, Ryan Wooden, and Michael Schroeder for the top 10. Oh, boy. Catch your breath. A lot happened in a very short time there on a Monday night, as is so often the case. Now, how are we for finish time tonight, Adam Lavis? Do you have an early start, or what's going on?
Yeah, early-ish.
Early-ish, righto. So we'll try and get this post-race show done rather brisk and promptly. Alan Holgerson, we were riding on board with him going through turn 1 on the opening lap. The replay, that was what happened to David Christensen. The car that went off with him gave him the nudge that sent him off to the right in the first place, Matt Distill, and then that actually now explains, that fills in the pieces, the gaps in the puzzle that we're not quite sure of. That explains why Distill parked up for the night very early in the piece. Grant Gill's back with us. I was going to say, if you're Oscar Glissett, making the best of a bad situation, yes, you're first across the line, you've been relegated to second, but that's as best an outcome as you could probably hope for in that situation.
Oh, absolutely. He's done everything he could do to recover from that, and courtesy of the battling between Arnott, Dench, Holgerson, all of those guys, that gave him that opportunity to just pip Arnott in third by 0.17 of a second, so it was as tight as you like. Dench was 0.25 of a second, and Holgerson just over a second. So credit to the young fella. He's certainly shining in this esteemed company, and as we thought as well, the old McLaren really didn't want to give it all tonight. And so great driving from Matthew Dench as well in there to pick up a fourth, and fifth in the first and fourth in the second.
Yeah, and looking very good for the championship now. He's got one hand on it. Kevin Henderson joins us from Race Control to have a chat about, well, what I can only assume was a busy night for Race Control, Kevin.
Yeah, it was for these boys. They were very, very naughty tonight. I was in the naughty room. have a good hard think about it, I reckon.
And rightly so. I mean, there was just some silly stuff there going on. Just to clarify, Hendo, which server were you looking after, please? Pro
I
or
was
Am?
in the pro. I just dropped in to let you know the results of the pro race.
So, yeah, no. Well, we took pro race 2. We didn't see
okay.
pro race 1. But I was going to say a fair bit of argy-bargy out there. Young Oscar Glissett with the case to answer for, but he still salvaged second despite his 10-second invoice.
Yeah, Oscar in the first race, yeah, he did. Got
I mean the second race. The second race.
Second race. Yeah, no, he did well in the second race. He's I don't get anything. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did have a penalty in the second race. Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a bit of trouble all round tonight. The boys were going a bit silly, but that tends to happen at the island.
There were two things there, Hendo, that we put that down to. Yes, there were a couple of racing incidents, and certainly they had one in GT3 Am as well. They had 3 wide into turn 1. That was never going to end well. But here, the big story wasn't necessarily the on-track incidents and the car-to-car contact. It was the Porsches didn't want to stay on the racetrack.
No, Oscar kept his on the track pretty well, but then they seem to have the pace here, the Porsche. Matthew sort of had a bit of trouble trying to keep up tonight, so a bit surprising. The track didn't seem to suit his McLaren, but that's racing, isn't it? Plus Matthew got a penalty in the first race too for that last lap incident with Oscar. Yeah, only a small one.
Yeah, he dived. I was watching that one. He dived down and.
It was a bit late.
Expecting him to be there. Yep.
Sorry. Who was it?
Matthew Dench.
Okay, so how much was the penalty there?
That was just a 5 second. He made
a
late dive.
That's going to relegate Denchy to 6th instead of 4th, just quietly.
Yeah, he made a late dive and into. I can't never remember the corner names. Honda.
Miller.
One of the other.
Now. Yep.
Yeah. And bounced up off the curve, and it just, it was too late, and he turned Oscar around, so that's the way it goes. But I mean, when you got
race 1, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, copy that.
When you've got the caliber of driver of people like Oscar and Matthew getting penalties, you've got to sort of wonder what's in the silly juice in the pit stop today, or maybe a full moon or something. I'm not sure.
Well, that's right.
There's a super moon in a couple of days.
Yes.
Maybe people just getting a bit of practice in for the super moon.
That's it.
Indeed.
A little bit silly.
Indeed. Let's drag a couple more drivers in here for a chat as well. We've got Mark Foster standing by. We've got Tim Fuge and Oscar Glissett standing by. We've got Greg Brooks as well. Grant Gill's here. Kevin Henderson too. Hey, Hendo, when are you back on track, please?
I'll be back on Wednesday night in the Formula Forwards.
And best of luck recovering after a busy night, keeping you on your toes in race control as well. You had to work hard for your money here at the island, and I dare say the same can be said to next week as well when we go to Bathurst.
Well, Bathurst is always what Bathurst is. But on the other hand, last week 90 minutes of sitting here watching cars go around gets a bit tedious.
That's very true too.
But it is what it is. I enjoyed tonight, and like I said, a bit of silliness going on, but that's Phillip Island, and every racer in Australia wants to win at Phillip Island. And
Indeed, they do. Absolutely.
I'll have to sharpen my pencil next week.
And 100% you will. And not to forget as well that you also get a couple of ring-ins. A couple of drivers pop up that you wouldn't normally see pop up at any other racetrack on any other given week in these cars. They pop up for Phillip Island.
Yeah, and Bathurst as well.
Exactly.
So I'll have to sharpen my pencil and get a bigger notepad.
Exactly. Good boy. We'll let you go. We'll let you go and do that. Kevin Henderson, proudly sponsored by Officeworks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Hendo.
And bring a bigger stick as well.
There he is, Kevin Henderson. Thanks, mate.
See you guys.
Oh dear. Let's start with Oscar Glissett, mate. Unlucky, really. Well done. Because unfortunately you copped a 10-second penalty for the little tap you've given Andrew Hazard there in race 2. But knowing that you put the head down, the bum up, you kicked on with it. Unfortunately, you couldn't shake off Liam Reston because he was hovering like a cheap suit. But in saying that, second in that field, despite a 10-second penalty. You've got to be chuffed. Can't hear you, Oscar. Just make sure you got push to talk going, or are you muted at your end? Hello, mate. Have we got you?
Yeah, no, yeah.
There he is. We got him. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, disappointing second lap, as we saw. Yeah, had a bit of incident with Hazard. Got 10-second penalty. And from there, I thought I might maybe get top 10 after that. I was just coasting around the track. When I saw probably after the first pit stop, I was like 7 seconds away from like P5, P6. I was like, I'm just gonna start pushing a bit, and somehow got lucky in the end, got P2.
Well, I was going to say Hazard ended up being a hazard for you, really, to be fair. Anyway, a trip one at that too. Trip hazard. Anyway, in saying all of that, Oscar, great pace, great skill, great speed. And clearly the Porsche and you on a night where no one else could seem to get their Porsche to stay on the racetrack. You obviously, you got the hang of this thing and the hang of this circuit, and pulled out a pretty good result, all things considered.
Yeah, 100%. Coming into this track, coming into this race from practice after 5-6 laps, I actually found it impossible to keep the car on track. So to come away with a P2, I'll definitely take that.
Very nicely done, mate. Thoughts on? We didn't see race one, mate. We were keeping our eyes on the AM split. So just talk us through race one from your perspective as well, please.
Started P3. I had a bit of a mistake. Got down to P4 and just sort of stuck behind. It was Hewitt and Merritt. And on the final lap, sort of tried to play it safe through whatever corner it was. And I didn't see Dench, and we still have a little bit of incident together. He got a 5-second penalty, and yeah, that was about the end of it. Finished P7, I think.
All right, very nicely done. And as far as the rest of it's concerned, how are you feeling about the next 2 weeks? Mountain Panorama for 60, a short, sharp sprint around there by usual GT3 standards. And then Road America for 90. I couldn't think of 2 better tracks to finish the season on.
I've sent 2 very good tracks, but I'm a bit nervous about Bathurst. I've never really finished the race good there. I've always sort of had some kind of incident, whether it be at the start or at the end, but always have.
You wouldn't be on your own there, mate. There'll be plenty of incidents. The walls are very, very close and the track very, very bumpy. So head up, eyes forward, as our old mate would say, and I'm sure you'll bring a good account of yourself and the Side Hustle Racing team as well.
Speaking of old mate, he I was going to say old mate Paul Nichols. He graced us with his presence the other night and made his presence known as well. He was in the thick of it in both the production cars and the commentary box. It was good to catch up with Nico. We hope he's well on a Monday night.
Funny that I should have just mentioned him an hour before or half an hour before in the comments. Up he pops.
Exactly. Ears must have been burning. No doubt about that. Glissett from Reston and Arnott and Dench was the provisional finishing order across the line, but of course Reston's got the win over Glissett here in race 2 of GT3 for Waste Options. If you're just joining us, Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Oscar, what have you made of the whole season so far, mate? It's been nice to follow your progress. And as we edge close to the end of the season, yes, a little bit of trepidation around Bathurst, but you're hitting your straps nicely, mate.
Coming into the season, I didn't have much of a goal. I was hoping maybe top 5 or something like that. But now sitting currently P2, I'm sort of trying to practice a bit more and actually try to go for the top 3. But yeah, it's been a good season, surprisingly, from Porsche Lambo. They sort of drive a bit differently, so I was a bit nervous coming into it.
Indeed. Now, on the subject of Porsche, are you happy with that car, or are you exploring your options when we get to Term 4? Because that's only a few weeks away now.
I haven't really thought about it, but if it keeps driving like this, I think I might have to stick with it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It'll be interesting to see what pop updates do to the grand scheme of things, because we know they can't be too far away. Hey, Oscar, thanks, mate. Well done. Actually, just before you go, one more question. For all the issues that the other Porsches had, you obviously, you've kept yourself out of trouble, relatively speaking. You haven't crashed it and burnt it. But did you entertain the thought of tyres during your pit stop at all? How was the wear tonight?
Yeah, I definitely took right-handers because from practice, I think they're like 40% by the end of the first stint. So taking right-handers, even if it was a couple seconds longer in the pit, I think it was 100% worth it and helped me stay on the track.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Hey, congratulations. Great result. Could have been just that one position better, but not to be. We will look forward to catching up with you over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. See you, boys.
We'll push on here because we've got a few more drivers to have a chat to, Grant. Let's start with Glenn Arnott, because on a night where BMW shone at MotorLand Aragón, that was really impressive from you. Sure, you started second by virtue of the invert top 10 system, but to stay there and fight with the likes of Dench and Holgerson and Mitchum and Glissett and Reston, you must be chuffed that you've come home in third.
Mate, honestly, please don't remind me about that. I was absolutely sweating like a spotlight behind me on those last 2 laps. It was just, no, please don't. I mean, yeah, it's not something I want to relive ever again.
There's a certain amount of we often associate Dench with, you know, there's a sense of pressure and intimidation for you blokes when he's lurking. But I mean, to keep him at bay, is that testament to your improvement as a driver, to the car under your, you know, control tonight, or to the fact that Dench and the McLaren might have been a little bit hamstrung here?
To be honest, Zach, I think it's the whole three. I'm really liking the Beamer this season, and I think the next 2 weeks are going to be good Beamer tracks.
Yep.
And also, you know, I'd like to thank Dench as well for not punting me at all, because he could have a couple of times there.
Absolutely, he could have. I think there was maybe a touch at one point, Glenn, but that's it.
Yeah, I think there was, but you know, it's nothing that he hasn't done before to other people and what have you. I just had to keep the eyes down, eyes forward, and try and, you know, like the last couple of turns, I sort of, coming down Lukey Heights, I just parked it at the apex so he couldn't really do anything about it, and then I knew I had the pace after that. But even so, like if I went for another lap, I was gone.
And the great thing about your defence at Lukey Heights was you're very positive about it. You went to the inside early, and you showed him the door. You said, mate, if you want to come around me, go around the long way, go around the back. And you're very positive in the way you went about that, and made him in no two minds by any means that he might be able to chuck it down the inside. So fantastic defensive driving by you there, and great result out and out.
Oh, definitely. Like, you know, like Richard ballsed up his Richard Mitchum, that is, ballsed up his pit stop. So I knew I had
I was wondering what happened to him.
Yeah, he just went a bit too far and had to reverse back and everything else. So I knew I had him, and I thought I might have been fighting him at the end of the race. And then I think I was catching Denchi a little bit, only minutely, and then he made a couple of errors. I think his tyres were going. I'm not quite sure if he got tyres or not in the pit stop. And yeah, and then he made the mistake on the last corner, and I was able to get past him. And as you said, I was just making sure if he was going to go, I had to make sure that I did it early so he knew where I was going to be.
Yeah,
so,
and that's the absolute answer to that. Yeah,
and that's the only way to do it. You know, I've seen people on Facebook and all that, you know, not doing it at all and then just diving down at the last second. Well, you know, you've actually got to give the guy some notice on what you're doing if you're going to do that.
Make your intentions clear, and there was no ambiguity whatsoever about how you were going about that. It's like, Matthew, this is where I am. Do your best.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well done.
And you know, and when you got someone like that caliber behind you, you've got to do that. You know, you can't just put it there and just wait for them to hit you. It's just it's no fun for both. Then you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And right there, Grant, the ethos of the mantra of the club, the gentleman's approach.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very much so.
I don't think
why
it's
we
just
like
that
racing.
either,
Sorry, Glenn?
It's not just that. You know what I mean? I think it's racing in general that you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, you
I agree with you, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't worry about it. They wouldn't lose sleep if there was contact, Glenn.
Oh, no, exactly. Well, yeah, if you do officials, you know exactly what we all mean.
Exactly.
Watch out for them Iberians.
It can be an absolute nightmare. But, you know, when you come into these, it's a pleasure to race. against these guys who are quick, mind you. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and you're just making sure that you're telling them early and you're doing the right thing by them, yourself, your team, and all that sort of stuff at the same time. So
Yeah,
no.
respect, isn't it? It's respecting the other driver and then, and hopefully having that pass back the other way as well. And
Exactly.
round these parts, that generally works pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. And then the guys, you know, in the next few races, you may come up to them again. You're gonna, you know, they're gonna know what you are gonna be like to race against, hard but fair, and that sort of stuff. You know, if you keep clanging into people all the time and causing incidents, well, then people are gonna go, well, you know, I'm not gonna try and, well, if I'm gonna pass, I'm gonna do what he does and just dive in there.
Yeah.
You know, but if you do it this way, then they go, okay, well, he's a clean racer and wants to race clean, and he goes from there.
And just unfortunate for you by a smidgen, a 0.17 of a second to not pick up the second place there. The battling with Dench and with Holgerson right there as well. Just popped you outside the 10-second penalty that Glissett had. So it could have even been better, but a fantastic result. I'm sure you'd, if someone said to you at the start of practice, Glenn, take a third in the second race, how about that? You would have walked away and been a happy man.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have started.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well
no, it's good. Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Glenn, thoughts on the next couple of weeks before we let you go, mate?
Gonna love them. It's just a beamer track. It's a beamer and Merc track, both of them. Well, especially Mount Panorama is a beamer track, and I really like RA as well. So hopefully, like I can do, you know, put it in the top 10 again and just see what happens in the next two, and hopefully hold Holgerson off and keep 7th, and you know, hopefully maybe able to raise a couple of spots in the championship.
It'll be interesting to see if the mischievous server setter sets a 42-degree track temperature or something like that could really, at Road America, could really make things interesting. But a great end to the season. Well done.
Well, if he does, he needs to have a good hard look at himself. No.
And an uppercut
Sorry,
or
Adam.
two might need to be distributed.
You have to blame the Google random number generator.
Yeah, that you set, yes. Yeah, between 40 and 50, somewhere around there.
64 to 80. No, 65 to 80.
Bring your eggs with you.
That's it. Yeah, it's going to be Thai City if it's going to be that hot. But yeah, no, I like both tracks. Yeah, so it could be very interesting at the end of the season.
All right, mate. Thank you very much for stopping on by for a chat. Well done on that result tonight. Obviously, race 2 well and truly made up for race 1. And looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table when we get to Mount Panorama. Thanks for that.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
All right, from Glenn Arnott, we push on down to Mark Foster and Tim Fuge. We'll come back to Daniel Correa-Sarr as well. We've got Greg Brooks here too. Mark Foster, Tim Fuge, we checked in with you guys during race 1, and obviously Adam's shown us the results for race 2. Tim, well done on the win there. Race 1, chaotic would be the best way to describe it, but it must have been nice to keep your nose clean in race 2 and bring it home for a W, Tim.
Nah, it was good. Race 1, I didn't qualify too bad. I think it was 4th or something, and turned around in first corner, and it come through the whole field. I think I was second last, so I got to see all the carnage. Everywhere
exactly.
There was something flying off there. It was pretty good to watch. It was pretty, not that I wanted to be there, but it was pretty good. Made the best of it, so no, it was good.
Yeah, for the portion, it was like it was a scale extric track with a set of rails heading off to the right-hand side in the wall, wasn't it? Everyone just spinning and overcorrecting and coming out on the right-hand side after turn 1 there.
Yeah, no, they we went 3 wide into it, so yeah, that was pretty hairy. No, it was
Seemed like
anyway,
a good idea at the time.
What's that?
Seemed like a good idea at the time. 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, it was great. I was up the inside. I was like, we're not 3 wide, are we? And I was like, oh, this is not going to end well, and it didn't. So yeah, that's that. But anyway, second race was good. So yeah, no, it was real good. Done well.
Excellent. Well done, sir.
Yeah, thanks. I've got to duck off. I'm going to get to bed, but just want to give you a shout as a sponsor shout out, Plum on Plumbing and Fuge Contracting.
Before you go to bed, thoughts on how this championship finishes in the next couple of weeks? Because we won't be checking in with you guys again. I mean, we'll be chatting to you post-race, but we're not actually following your races per se live over the next 2 weeks. We're taking the Pro Split from Mount Panorama and also from Road America. But your thoughts on what's ahead?
Well, I think Ads is on for a show there. We all like those next 2 tracks, and he's going really well. So I think he's looking good for number 1.
That's Mr. Holland you're referring to?
Yeah, correct. So he's going real well at the moment. So keep an eye on that.
Coming into tonight, Dean Eldridge was out in front 248, then Mark Foster 236, then Adam on 234. So that won't have got any further apart after tonight. I'm not sure what happened to Dean, but that's still going to be tight as you like up the top there.
Yeah, no, it will be a good little fight towards the end. So the next couple of races will be interesting.
Tight as an un's nasty, as Birmingham once said. Yes.
Pretty tight.
Exactly. It's 10 past 10 Eastern time, Grant, so I can get away with it.
Not so bad.
Yeah, my old dad would have said tight as a fish's bum, and that's watertight. So
exactly. Brilliant.
Yours is a little bit more colourful.
Absolutely. I'll be as colourful as I like after 9:30. You know that. And it'll be 10:30 in a few weeks' time, and that means that we probably won't actually be on air. But that's all right. We'll save that sort of crude humour for the post-race show. Hey, Tim, well done, mate. Look forward to seeing the results and how they play out over the next couple of weeks. Thanks for having a chat to us, and thanks for entertaining us throughout many different nights throughout the course of the season when we're taking in the GT3 AM races. Good luck. Go well.
No worries, gents. Thank you. See you later.
And well done on the W tonight as well. To Mark Foster, continuing to fly the flag for the McLaren in the AM split the way Dench does in the Pro Split, mate. Well done tonight. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 in that opening race. You had your work cut out for you, though. Keeping it on the black stuff proved to be a challenge, but when you keep it clean, you reap the reward.
Yeah. G'day, Zach. G'day, Grant. Yeah, that was my plan, to keep it clean, and I got very lucky, and I think myself and Daniel both got really lucky in the first race. I think I qualified about 9th. Managed to get up into about 5th, and there was a few little spins and so on in front of me, so I kind of inherited 2nd place, and really had a great race with Daniel for 3rd. But my whole plan for just going into tonight was just to keep it clean and try and get 0 X's, which luckily I managed to do in both races, so that was a definite bonus. So I just managed to stay out of trouble, and the second race wasn't much trouble. I think I started in 8th and finished in 8th. It was even harder to overtake than I remember.
And how was the McLaren? We suspect Matthew Dench didn't quite have the legs that he often does as one of the very few other McLaren drivers. How did you feel the car was in relation to some of the other brands?
Yeah, it was terrible, honestly. It was like in the places where you needed it to be fast, like coming onto the main straight, it needed to be fast, and it just couldn't get the legs, and so you'd lose, half a second or get in on. You just couldn't keep the toe, and it was good in the slow corners and coming out of the slow corners, which helped me to stay ahead. But like Daniel in the Lambo was much faster through the over the top of the hill at Lukey Heights and so on. And I just got lucky, really. But it wasn't the best car.
What do they say? Better to be lucky than good.
Yeah. Oh, like I said last week, I'm not complaining when people crash in front of me. I'll take the reap your rewards when I can. Easiest
overtakes you'll ever get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well done. Great to see you performing well in there, and it's good to see the McLaren out there. I have a very soft spot for the McLaren. To be honest, I did do a couple of laps of practice and then chose not to race.
Yeah, look, I love it, and it's a great car, but it's a bit of an acquired taste, and I think it's really now starting to show its age.
It's not everybody's cup of tea.
No, not at all.
So when you say it's starting to show its age, does it require a little bit of love from a BOP update from iRacing, does it?
Well, I'd just like them to maybe, just map the new McLaren that's out there, and that'd be even better, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Well, it's the second oldest car in the group after the Ford GT, so it could certainly do with a bit of love for the McLaren fans.
All this content, all this storage, all this data, I don't know where you guys fit it.
Get another computer.
That's it. Why not? And just keep buying computers. keep the electronic industry in very much motion. Just going back to what we've seen thus far, mate, I mean, tyre wear, how was it for the McLaren?
Yeah, pretty average. I didn't take any tyres, and it really started to struggle. It just wasn't a fun car to drive. It was fairly settled, but coming in through turn 1 a couple of times, I had a few moments. So just compared to the Porsche and the Ferrari, they were just on rails, I thought, but they were a little bit loose over Lukey, which is where I saw a few come off. But look, it was good to have a fight with Daniel. It was good to have the Lambo coming up behind me. You can hear it from a mile away, and it sounds great. So it's good to not have Porsches all around me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried to drive the Lambo a couple of times, and I get a headache after about 5 minutes from inside the cockpit. It's just, can't do that one. Go back to the McLaren, which has a lovely bark to it.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good, yeah.
And thoughts on Bathurst and Road America? Because, I mean, we've already heard comments there that suggest they're going to be Mercedes and BMW favoured circuits, but we know that the Pro split is very different to the M split, mate.
Yeah, I think that's right though. I've done a few races around. I'm not much chop around Bathurst. Like, it's just hard. But I reckon the Porsche over the top of the hill will really struggle. I haven't driven the new one across over Bathurst, but I remember the old one, once you going over the top of the hill, once you lost a bit of weight in the rear, it was just gone. So I think that'll be interesting to see how they handle it. But yeah, again, like, I've got to think of championship, not race results so much. So I'll be just hoping to have a good race and stay out of trouble again.
All right, very nicely done. Hey, Mark, I'm starting to run out of time here, mate, but we'll let you go at this point. Actually, one more question on the way out. Because I reckon I've got enough time. Only just. You've got a soft spot for McLaren. Yes, it's an acquired taste. But are you looking elsewhere at other options, other avenues for your participation in Turn 4 GT3?
No, not yet. I'll
Okay.
stick with it again.
All right. Good to know. Yep. Someone's staying loyal. Someone's staying consistent. Good on you, mate. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
And we move on now. Daniel Correa-Sara, I'm going to get to you in just a moment, but I just realised Gregory Brooks, actually, Grant, might be the story of the night here that we somewhat tripped over because we've been focusing on what's been happening at the top end of town. But, Gregory, welcome into you. Well done. Kept your nose clean. I mean, Race 1 finished well down the order, down in it's saying 28th on the sheet here, but Race 2 kept your nose clean, stayed out of trouble for the most part, and I stress for the most part in terms of keeping your nose clean and staying out of trouble on both counts, and moved up 15 positions along with Thomas Martin, biggest movers of the race. I mean, he'll get the bonus point because he finished 12th, you finished 13th, but to move up 15 spots in a car that gave a lot of people a lot of trouble tonight, you must be happy to have at least made it to the checkered flag. Well done.
Hey, Granny, Zach. Yeah, it was an interesting race. The first race I was actually doing quite well. I felt up until I think it was about lap 6 and just binned it on turn 1 like so many other people. But I felt I had some pretty good pace at that point in time. It just didn't quite translate for the rest of that session. But yeah, second race was interesting. Like Tommy and I were discussing, strategy, trying to keep the two Tractix boys together. But yeah, we just plodded along, and I think it was probably 2-3 laps after the pit stops, we both realised where we were, and we thought, how the hell did we get here?
It's like a long drive, isn't it? Where you travel for a couple of hours and you go, I don't remember going through Gundagai or whatever. Nicely done. And if you're not pushing 10 tenths, this track is so much easier. There's so little room for error, isn't there, around this track?
Oh, it's intense. I've been sick all last week, so my practice time was maybe about an hour. And so I felt I did all right for only an hour's worth of practice, never driven on the track before. So I learned very quickly the Porsche doesn't like turn 1 through to turn 12 most of the way. But yeah, no, it was so much fun, to be honest with you. Like, it's not my kind of a track, but too many fast flowy corners and too many different lines, and yeah, give me a nice right hand turn any day and I'm happy.
Well, we know what sort of cars you don't want to drive then.
Yeah.
Ovals.
Yeah, stuff the ovals, they can keep those.
Yeah. No, it's this track is just you're always trying to get that extra tenth or so, and as soon as you do, even out of this corner, second last corner, takes you wide onto the ripple strip. You're in the dirt and you're gone. And like you say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all very similar to that. But it's just it's like signs on the fence all the way around saying "hug me," and you're compelled to go out and give it a big hug.
Yeah, nice big juicy hug. Sometimes leave your front bar or your rear bar or the rear wing just left lying around.
Yeah, no, well done tonight. That was a good effort.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was a lot of fun. I really quite enjoyed it. But as I said, yeah, for a lack of driving, I was very surprised. Tommy and I were both chatting away and just plodding along, thinking, yeah, we'll be right. We're maybe 20th or so by the end, because we saw people coming off all the time, and Tommy alluded to the fact that we were almost the top 10, and we thought, oh, holy crap.
Nice. It's all right. It's after 10. It's after 10 o'clock. You would have been okay, but well done on catching it. Yes, no, very nicely done.
And we do need a new sponsor for the production cars. So swear away.
Look. To be honest with you, I was going to say we need a new swear jar. In fact, it's been out the back door. We haven't seen the swear jar for a while.
Not since Nico's been away.
No, that's right. Exactly. Although that being said. Was in the booth on Saturday night at the North Ipswich Reserve for the Rugby League Ipswich semi-finals. Threw it down to the post-match man of the match interview, and one of the first words he uttered was the old magic 4-letter F-bomb, and I sitting up there in the booth just knowing that my producer would have been hating that at that particular point in time, and I was therefore absolutely loving it. And it was only about 10 minutes to wait, so we'd only just got past that threshold. So I quite enjoyed that moment. It's the first time it's happened, actually, believe it or not. All the Rugby League Ipswich players have no media training really at all. But yes, first time in 3 years of rugby league that we had one of our boys drop the clanger. Very nicely done. Hey, before we go any further, Greg, what are you looking forward to most about the next 2 weeks, please? We've got 2 iconic tracks, 2 6-kilometre plus circuits. Bathurst Road, America, Mount Panorama first up, 60 minutes. Should be a great test.
Yeah, I heard the guys talking earlier saying, that's a Mercedes and BMW heavy track, but I don't know. Last season in Enduros, we saw Brock Kelly do really well in the 992, so I'm hoping I can at least give them a run for their money if possible.
Very nicely done. And what about next season? I mean, obviously we've got an opportunity to take stock in a couple of weeks' time. Straight after that round on September 11, we've got a night off September 18. We're back September 25. Well, actually, I won't be. Grant, can you fill in for me? I'll be watching Delta Goodrem at the Sydney Opera House on September 25. But when we do reconvene, mate, obviously there'll be some changes. The schedule will look a little bit different. The venues we're visiting will be different. The cars will get a little bit of a tweak and tune thanks to some iRacing updates patch updates that are due any tick at the clock. What are your thoughts on the new season? Are you happy with where you're at with the Porsche, or are you thinking of looking elsewhere?
Well, I don't know at the moment. Adam Burhop and I just decided we were going to go the Porsche, and then because we'd been running it for Enduros, and Tommy joined our team a little later down the track, and he was already in the Beamer, so we were kind of discussing that all 3 of us will drive next season, but I haven't seen the new list of tracks for next season, so I think we might just review and see what we all would prefer to do together. Whether that is the Porsche or not, I'm not sure, but I do love the Porsche. It's a very me car, so I'd be biased to kind of go, oh yeah, let's kind of go the Porsche. It'd be great.
In saying that though, as I just quickly turn my head back to the microphone, how long have I been doing this game and started to talk in the direction where the microphone wasn't pointing? In saying that, though, that's an interesting point of discussion because, Grant, as you know, we've got some teams that run strictly the same manufacturer, some teams that run different manufacturers. The first one that comes to mind is the Bailey Ladders boys after what we saw in the Porsches tonight, in the GT4, I should say. So it's an interesting topic of discussion, Gregory, where you got to look at, I guess, majority rules, and that can't be an easy thing if you're the odd one out and you don't like the manufacturer of choice and you've just got to persevere with it.
Yeah, the good thing, well, I'm lucky in the sense that Tommy can basically drive anything with four wheels, and so can Adam. So it's more about, all right, so how does the little guy to go with these cars? So yeah, I feel like they're pretty well versed. I'm the new guy, so trying to get myself kind of worked in with a car is a bit interesting. I mean, I've drove the Lambo last Enduro season, and I've done Ferraris and stuff like that. So I've driven quite a lot of the GT3s, but yeah, I mean, we might even go the Ford GT. You never know, right?
Well, yeah. So. Okay. Good luck with that.
Oh, it's a great car. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Well, clearly, popular opinion would disagree with you there.
That's all right. It's just, if I can drive it, I'm happy. You know,
absolutely. It's all good fun.
We've done some Bathurst drives in the Ford GT and that sort of stuff, and yeah, some of the tracks in this season, even I've practiced in the Ford GT, and I don't know, I love it, really.
Right. All right, mate. Hey, thanks for stopping on by and having a chat to us. It's definitely the first time you've been in here when I've been in the chair. I'm not sure if you jumped in when I've not been in the booth, but good to catch up with you. Good to hear how it all went tonight. Good to see a little bit of difference there between the two liveries on the screen as well. As you boys just hip and shoulder one another to say, hey, nice to see you. The old love tap, very nice. Good to catch up. Good luck for the next 2 weeks. Look forward to watching your progress closely here.
All right, thanks, Zach. Thanks, Grant.
And now on that note, let's go from, well, I've got both my Thursday night buddies in the booth at the moment, the old one and the new one, Grant Gill and Daniel Correa. Lambo did good, my friend.
It did. Hey, Grant and Zach. It did. What? It did. I didn't race in the GT4s. I'm still recovering a little bit from my adventure in sick land from last week. So I gave the GT4s a skip, and I thought I'll jump into the GT3s and see what I can do. And I was pleasantly surprised. I hit P3 in both races. That first one, I had, like Mark was mentioning, I had a fantastic race with him, and it was racing him ahead of me and my rear end, because that Lambo wanted me dead. And so every single lap as it got emptier and emptier, I found myself fighting it more and more, to the point where I did get sideways a couple of times and managed to catch it, luckily. But it was fun. I have to admit, I had fun the entire, and I just got lucky. There was a couple of incidents in that first one, which me and Mark absolutely profited from, and then in the second one, again, a couple of incidents, and unfortunately one which was a teammate of mine, Kelvin. He on the last lap, going around the southern loop, he went out, and that gave me P3. So, unfortunate for Calvin, but profit for me.
Absolutely. And mates, you are very much in the minority at the moment. There aren't too many people running McLarens. There aren't too many people running Fords. There's all people running an Audi, quite frankly. But as far as the Lambos are concerned, they're not getting anywhere near as much love as they were a couple of seasons ago. So it must be nice to be doing something different and actually achieving something with it.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I'll be honest. The reason I picked it is because of the noise. It's as simple as that. It sounds fantastic.
Different twerks for different people. Yeah,
no, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Maybe it's my speaker setup.
Well, I just wear headphones, but I just love the growl of it, and I can understand how some people might get fatigued with that over the course of, say, like an enduro distance, but I just absolutely love it. And and so I was like, yep, it sounds great, let's just make it work. And then I had to get into a groove with it because, like I said, it does get really, really tail happy when it's light. But when I I mean, I'm new to the GSRC, so when I jumped into this, I thought, you're not going to go for wins. Just get in, get comfortable with everybody, figure it all out. And then as the seasons progress, you can start to try and fight for that front place. But yeah, I've just been having a ton of fun with it. And I really wish I had more time to practice and actually like put in some solid practice. But I really can't complain because I think Adam's done the standings. I'm currently 8th in the championship, which, mate, I'm absolutely happy with that.
Well, that kind of prefaces where I wanted to go with my next question is, how are you finding the GSRC? Of course, you're an incredibly valued member of the team nowadays, picking up the broadcasts on Thursdays, but enjoying...
Yeah, and Grant appreciates that more than anybody, actually, because it's given him some time off.
I don't really care. I wasn't going to do it anyway. So either there was going to be no Thursday night broadcast or some very generous and well-equipped gentleman would pop up and have a go. But you are enjoying the racing around the club?
Oh, mate, I love the GSRC. It's fantastic, guys. Sorry?
You can stay.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Yeah, no, I really do like it. I feel privileged to be able to help in the way that I do in terms of the broadcast. It's good to be able to bring that broadcast for everybody, and it's fantastic working with Zach. Honestly, just the talent behind the mic. Not trying to blow smoke up your behind, mate.
He's definitely welcome back. You're right, Grant.
Yeah. But in terms of the racing and the community, mate, it's fantastic. Like, honestly, if anybody out there is watching and thinking, maybe I want to give it a go, do so. I genuinely implore you. It's the big shout out I'm going to give is to, I believe it's Joe that runs the Mountain Men on Saturdays.
Yeah, Trucker Joe Baldwin. Yep.
Mate, the Mountain Men is like hanging out at a pub with your mates, but everyone's in sim rigs. Like, honestly, it is the greatest, it's the best type of racing there is. It's Mount Panorama, which I love. So, all ready to head your questions, Zach. Yes, I'm very excited for the next round.
Yes.
And then it's just like picking different cars. Like, you just pick a random car each week and you just go for it. Fantastic.
And as many of us know...
Sorry, I was just saying you can do it for free at the moment. You don't even need a
club
member at this point in time. So come in, have a go, and you might hang around and start broadcasting as well.
And not that we condone this at all, ladies and gentlemen, but considering that Daniel made the link between hanging out with mates at the pub and hanging out with them virtually via the sim rig, we know full well that sim racing, particularly the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club variety, is the sort where you're more than welcome to get pissed while you drive as well. And we've known Trent Lavis actually to refer to what he's drinking as spicy cola, and go through about half dozen of them in the course of a 3-hour broadcast. So not only is it free to join the Mountain Men, it's cheaper than going to the pub. So it's economically friendly in a particular time in our lives where we're all trying to do some cost cutting and penny pinching and saving where we can, because the cost of living is exactly what everyone's talking about. It's at the forefront and center of every single conversation. So anyway, we can help out to contribute to saving people a few bucks on a Saturday night by saying, hey, don't go to the pub, come here. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I actually
think have to spend about $3,000 on a sim rig and
what's that? You know?
It's a long investment. I also think I'll have to check the fine, but I'm pretty sure in the fine print in the Mountain Man, it's a 2-drink minimum. So
absolutely, yeah. Well, yep. You must be well lubricated.
And bring your A game in the banter department as well.
That's it.
Daniel,
sorry,
you were going to say?
Oh no, I was just saying no. I was just agreeing.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I copy that. No, I didn't quite hear it through.
No,
sorry. Right. Let's continue on though before we get into any further trouble. What's obviously the next 2 weeks, obviously you're very excited about Bathurst. The Lambo should handle that reasonably well. I'm sure Matt Dench has had some success around there in the Lambo in the past, so that's your incentive to go well next week. Road America the week after, almost as legendary a circuit.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Look, me personally, I think that Bathurst is the greatest track in the world. I'm very biased in that, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But let's be honest, Road America, one of the absolute greatest circuits, and it's a fantastic way to end the season, I must say, because that's a 90-minute race, is that not?
Is it triple sprint? I'm not sure.
Maybe it is triple sprint.
90 minutes in the 90 minutes in the GT3s. Triple sprint's the
All
Porsche
right,
finale.
Triple sprint's the Porsches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, there you
It's
go.
here at Phillip Island, actually.
Which is basically GT3.
And it's going to be fantastic.
So there you go, 90 minutes. 90 minutes at Road America. Road America's fantastic. I'm looking very forward to it. I can't imagine the Lambert's going to give me an easy time of it, but that's part of the fun. It's trying to wrangle that bull.
There you go.
All right, mate. Any other questions for your successor, Grant?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Very nicely. Yeah. Very nicely done, Daniel. I guess everyone else was talking about tyre wear around here. Did you notice it?
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty much just swapping the right side of the tyres at the pit stop. Managed to actually nail that too. So as the car dropped, the fuel stopped going in the car. So it was a good pit stop from my end. But yeah, definitely the right side was suffering. So made sense to change it.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Thank you to you. Thanks for jumping on in tonight and having a chat to us post-race. Interesting to turn the tables and actually interview you rather than co-commentate with you. But we get to do that again on Thursday night when the TCRs head around Sandown. That'll be well worth the price of admission. And let's hope a few more Porsches turn up as well.
Yeah, that will be fun. I reckon the TCRs at Sandown are going to be an absolute riot.
And if they don't rock up for it as though it was a rehearsal, if they don't come out from under the woodwork, under the vacant patches of grass, like they usually do, I'll be very disappointed. Because the production car series is, unfortunately the numbers have been a bit hit and miss. But TCR Sandown, a good combination, should hopefully entice a few more people into the rig.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm also happy to see the Porsches at Suzuka. I know Suzuka's a hot topic for you, Zach, but me personally, I quite like it.
Yeah, well, I might leave you to it. Then you can have Suzuka audience. I'll go and watch the footy. Very nicely done.
Well, there you go,
Thanks,
Zach.
mate.
So Daniel's just said he likes Suzuka, so he can have the duties of filling the gap if there is a safety car.
Absolutely. All 6 minutes per lap of it. Fantastic. Hey, Daniel, thank you. Adam Lavis, do we have some updated championship standings that we can show everybody at home, please? There we go. Jeez, even without his best performance of the season, Matty Dench extends the championship lead due to the points matrix and the drop round equations. He's now 120 points clear. If he can maintain that buffer next week when we get to Mount Panorama, he goes to the final round with the championship already secured. It would be title number 7, and what a lucky one it would be for Matthew Dench. Oscar Glissett, Simon Cox, Nick Wood ensure that we've got 4 manufacturers still in the top 4.
Very close.
Nick Wood has dropped a couple of spots there, but it's very tight in the fight for second. Only 11 points splitting second and fourth at the moment. Wayne Hewitt's 12 points clear of Richard King in the battle for 5th, and Glenn Arnott's got 2 points now over Alan Holgerson. Jared Knight, Reece Dickerson, Richard Mitchum take us back to 11th. And there's, what have we got there? Knight, Dickerson, Mitchum, 15 points between those three as well. So the places in the bottom half of the top 10 are still very much there for taking as well. Matt is still a shocker tonight. He won't want to be reminded of that one anytime soon. 173. And Jeff Adams, Martin Crew, and Thomas Martin take us out through 15th. The M splits, or can we? Yes, we can. There we go. Oh, jeez. Mark Foster leads in the McLaren. We got McLaren to the top of both splits.
I think I heard a little cheer from Mark Foster's
I think so.
house then.
3 points the margin. And Adam Lee Holland only a smidgen further back there as well. 16 separates first, second, and third. Sean Rees is fourth. And then Sean Benici. Tim Fuge has got only 2 points over Stephen Gallacher and another 3 further back to Daniel Correa-Sar and 2 more back to Greg Heaney. So look at that. I mean, Benici's in 5th, but by no means comfortable because he's got another 4 within 16 points of him.
I think it could be a different story too.
Jesus.
Because Alan Holden's had something happen in the second race, dropped back to 20th somewhere, so he lost a bunch of points in that second race.
And Neil Gladwin's only just holding on to 10th. But he dropped 5 spots tonight because of some misfortune. So Dale Sharp is 192, William Yarwood's 190. Those guys have dropped ground as well, but they've actually closed the gap to Gladwin. all to play for. All to play for there in GT3 AM in the next couple of weeks. No doubt about that. McLaren, sorry, Adam, can we go back there? McLaren, Ferrari, Porsche, Lambo, all in the top 10, and BMW just outside, and Mercedes nowhere, but Kevin Coleman is 16th, trying to fly the flag for their manufacturers, or teams championship rather. Side Hustle have 2 in the top 3, and Twitchy Foot there as well. And we've got AM-split cars, or AM-split teams, 1 and 2 in the points race at the moment. But look at how tight that bloody thing is as well. Have a look at that. 32 points covers the top 5. So you gotta make every post a winner over the next fortnight.
Matty Bench and Mark Foster should join up as a team. They'd go pretty well.
They'd obliterate it. Yeah. They should have that discussion for next season. Bring Mark up into the pro split.
They'd have to be in the
same split.
Mark's popped his head in. There was a cheer from his house.
Yes, there was. Yeah. Yes. And I think he'd happily accept the invitation to team up with them. Dench, imagine how much of a learning experience that could prove to be for him, learning from the best in the benchmark in the club. So that's incredibly tight at the moment. So much pressure associated with these final 2 rounds of the season, because if you slip up at any point, there's a heavy price to pay. Don't say which part, Mark. Teaming up with Dench or being promoted to pro
split. I've always said AM splits like Fight Club. You don't tell people how much fun AM split is.
No, that's exactly 100%. Very nicely done. Grant Gill, final thoughts from you. Great to have you back in the booth, mate. Great to team up with you once more. And I do believe I owe you one for filling in for me while I had appendicitis at some point as well. So good to have you back. And good to catch up.
I've done more races Monday nights than you this season, I think.
I think I've only just caught up. Yeah, exactly.
No, all good. I saw Liam wasn't feeling too well in the chats. So I was going to have a run at GT4 tonight, but dinner ran a little long, and I thought, no, I'll just let that go for now. I'll try and keep my enthusiasm up for a little while longer.
But that being said, it has been nice to see you back in the server in a racing capacity, mate.
Yeah, look, it's the last Thursday on the production cars. I think the first time I'd got back in the sim since this year. So enjoyed that, and I think courtesy of a couple of penalties, I think I picked up a 5th in the second race. So that was pretty good, because Whitaker had 20, and whoever was just in front of me had 10 or 5. So yeah, it was a good night out. So it was good fun.
It certainly was indeed. If we're going to award a driver of the night, who are we giving it to?
Oscar Glissett.
All right, fair enough.
For pro split, I think that drive out in front, race 2.
Well, actually, hang on. I'm going to pull you up there, because I want you to be the judge of fact. Because, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, can you be classified as driver of the night when you have a penalty next to your name? And I say that only because we had a 2-try hero for the winning team in the Saturday night elimination final, but he didn't get the man of the match award because he actually got sent off.
Well, that's in the best and fairest kind of ruling, isn't it? Look, I think he drove the wheels off that car, and for a young fella, I would have to, it was a slight indiscretion. I can't even remember seeing the incident, but it was a bit of an indiscretion, and got his nose down and really put it to the big boys. So fantastic from him. And you asked for my opinion, and you got it. You know, you'll always get an opinion from me.
I always love getting an opinion from you, Grant. Well done. Never backwards in coming forwards, and never short of it. No, very nicely done. Hey, great to catch up with you, mate. Thank you for that. And thank you to Daniel Correa-Sarr for hanging around to the end as well. And thank you to Adam Lavis too. We've spent way too much time here debriefing all of that, but we've had fun in the process. Before we get to any of that, Adam Lavis, let's just tick the boxes and tick the bills or pay the bills rather, and thank the sponsors, because without them, none of this is possible. You can see Waste Options there on the bottom of your screen. We couldn't do it without them. Also, Orbic Australia. They're the 2 naming rights sponsors of the categories on a Monday night. There's Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, Astute Finance, Fisher & Door Lawyers, and also flash graphics as well. So a big thanks to those guys, because they're an integral part of the reason why we're still here 14 seasons down the track. Well done.
Flash graphics, of course, is the El Presidente.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We could, yes, that's right. We can now call John Simpson the El Presidente, which means I probably need to watch my P's and Q's a little bit more, but that's another story. Well done, Jono. And well done to Adam Lavis as well. Not only taking on a role that he already held the title of, albeit without a title, but also being the first inductee into the GSRC Life Membership Hall of Fame. And looking forward to continuing to work with him throughout the course of the rest of this year. Let's have a look ahead at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC throughout the course of Week 8 of Term 3. GSRC up-and-comers tomorrow night, the Toyota 86s from Legacy Silverstone. We were there in the Porsches last week. The Toyotas will throw up a good show. Race 1 starts at 7:50. It's 3 sprint races. Wednesday night, Virginia International for the Formula Fords, and then onto the Red Bull Ring for the supercars. And again, it's sprint racing the order of the day for the Formula Fords, but a 40-minute sprint for the supercars, not broadcast. Thursday night, Daniel and I are back with you. Production cars are the TCRs from Sandown. We're very excited about that. Porsches from Suzuka. That could be a bit of a miss, unfortunately. It's such a shame, because we started there with about 90 of them. All those terms ago, back in term 3 of season 1, 2020, so much to the point that we had 2 splits. But then again, that was COVID era. Everybody was at home. You couldn't leave your own postcode, all that crap. So, what else was there to do with your life apart from twiddle your thumbs? But the Porsches from Suzuka, we get underway at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. We're with you from 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Friday night, the the Wings and Slicks, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Formula 3's there, and 2 sprint races, and that will be 8:15, the start time of race 1. Motorsport, great track for any sort of racing. That will turn on a good show. Mountain Men, the car will be confirmed by Thursday night. The race start is 8:30. The distance is 32 laps. We know how that rodeo rock and rolls after all this time. Then off to Suzuka next Monday night. Oh, geez. For GT4, let's hope we don't get an early safety car there, or otherwise the clock will expire before they get another racing lap in. Suzuka, the venue. GT4, the order of the equation. Orbic Australia, the sponsor of that category. 25 minutes the journey, and it is the penultimate round of the championship. And then something a little bit more positive and life-affirming. GT3, Mount Panorama. We're focusing on the pro split. The distance is 60 minutes. It gets underway 8:30. As I said, we're with you from 7:25 Eastern Standard Time on Monday night. I'm looking forward to that immensely. The Endurance Championship, when's the next leg of that, please?
There's some conundrums
Right,
and
some
kerfuffle
confusion.
with that.
Yes.
Adam's probably better off saying what's going on, but round 2 will not be the
round
third of
two's,
the night.
yeah, round 2's been postponed, so round 3 will be the next one, and round 2 will be
Okay.
somewhere between 3 and 4.
All right, so somewhere in October, you're going to get a double hit of endurance racing, because on Grand Final Day, NRL Grand Final Day, Road Atlanta 6 hour. Hopefully that'll be overrun and won before the NRL Grand Final gets underway. You might be overlapping with the NRLW Grand Final, though. Round 3 will then take us to Road America for 4 hours. Round 4 at the Nürburgring for 4 hours. That's Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix Sunday, the Nürburgring. That'll be good. And then 6 hours of Le Mans on Sunday, the 3rd of December from probably 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So looking forward to that immensely. That's the GSRC Endurance Championship with thanks to Login Systems in the second semester of 2023. GSRC merch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com. It'll take you to the same place, ladies and gentlemen. So whichever one you punch in is going to take you to the merch store for all your GSRC fanfare, and make sure you do stock up at this time of the year to support the club.
You can do all your membership there as well.
Absolutely, and there's a few of you that need to crack the whip and get going on that too, just quietly.
Yeah, and that's also
yeah.
race.tgsrci.com is our website.
So we've got merch.tgsrci.com and race.t. Okay, copy that.
Yep.
Well done, Grant. Thank you. Knew you'd be all over that. That's it from us on a Monday night. An entertaining one at that. Geez, no one wanted to win that bloody GT3 AM race earlier on in the piece. And then almost the same could have been said for GT3 Pro. But the Islands delivered more carnage, more great racing, more entertainment for us here in the central commentary position. It rarely, ever disappoints. And never rather disappoints, because it is just one of those great racetracks that it doesn't matter what cars you throw on it, racing quality is what is delivered, and you at home and us in the commentary box end up being the winners, the beneficiaries of it. It ends up being well worth the price of admission and then some. GT4, it's very much up for grabs. Sam Muir v Sam Chapman. Cannot wait to see how that plays out. We're off to Suzuka for that next Monday night, then on to Mount Panorama for the GT3s. And next Monday night, I hesitate to say it because we know it's Mount Panorama and we know he has history there, but Matt Dench could secure title number 7 in Waste Options GT3. You don't want to miss that. Yes, we could be staring down another dead rubber in GT3 when we get to the grand final night, but take your hat off and tip it in his direction, ladies and gentlemen, because he is just a cut above. There's no doubt about that. Despite the fact that Oscar Glissett and Liam Reston got the better of him tonight, I reckon Glenn Arnott deserves a nod as well for the way in which he withstood the pressure of Matt Dench there in the closing stages as well. On behalf of Grant Gill, Daniel Correas, Adam Lavis, and the rest of the broadcast commentary and production team here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, hope you enjoyed it. As far as sport's concerned, between now and Thursday, the US Open Tennis Championships gets underway at 1 a.m. on 9 Gem and Stan Sport. And then, of course, the Boomers playing the World Cup tomorrow night against Japan as well in a must-win game. We'll report to your company Thursday night when we do it all again, right here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Until then, from Phillip Island, I'm Zach Caven, bidding you a very good night.